No be me do it be you do I follow your baka baka. Now you leave me for the corner. Obani now one fair and into the way she dey smile you go round too. In body shape nice you go say cartoon. Oh na na yeah. Mini go fame yeah my yeah. Ola ke o se moko be. Medina one fair cheek, nothing is our mini. Obanya sumie, now do what you are to this way. I front yeah. On it now, Faji Jimmy, yo. I front on it now, Faji Jimmy, yo. I'm falling in love with you. Tell me that you love me. I'm falling in love with you. Born in Kebago, I'm falling in love with you, girl. Tell me that you love me. Ibabo in Kebago. Tell me that you love me. I'm falling in love with you. Tell me that you love me. I'm falling in love with you. Born in Kebago, I'm falling in love with you, girl. Tell me that you love me. Ibabo in Kebago. Tell me that you love me. Yeah. Million days and a million nights. Hold me tight, make I feel alright. Your love is so blinding and I can see clearly. Make you no worry, make you no fear. I give you everything that you want, oh girl. Tell me that you love me, I'm falling in love with you. Tell me that you love me, I'm falling in love with you. Born in Kebago, I'm falling in love with you, girl. Tell me that you love me. Ibabo in Kebago. Tell me that you love me, I'm falling in love with you. Tell me that you love me, I'm falling in love with you. Born in Kebago, I'm falling in love with you, girl. Ibabo in Kebago. Tell me that you love me. Ram pa pam, tell me you love me. Oh, dum pa pam, tell me you love me. Oh. I can't deny the way that you love me. I can't deny the way that you love. I'm falling in love with you. Tell me that you love me. I'm falling in love with you. Born in Kebago, I'm falling in love with you, girl. Tell me that you love me. Ibabo in Kebago. Tell me that you love me. I'm falling in love with you. Born in Kebago, I'm falling in love with you, girl. Ibabo in Kebago. Tell me that you love me. Yeah. Don't tell me to go early. I wanna love you. Please don't let me go. I want to make you understand that I want you, baby. That I need you, baby. Please let me know that I want to be with you. Don't let me go. Don't keep me waiting, 'cause I want to be with you. Oh girl, I'm falling in love with you. Tell me that you love me, I'm falling in love with you. Born in Kebago, I'm falling in love with you, girl. Ibabu, Inkebibabo, tell me that you love me.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome. That was Rising. Beautiful music there. Good way to start the Monday, right? Good way to start this week. Yeah, absolutely. Well, today is the 23rd of November, 2020. We are slowly inching our way towards the end of the year.
Yep.
And good morning and welcome to Breakfast Daily. My name is David Kwiku Sakyi.
And I am Dziffa here, Ametam. We are just 7 days away from just being done with November. And 2 weeks from today, most of you will be out there already voting for who will serve us as president and who will be in parliament for the next 4 years.
Yep. And 39 days from today, we'll be wrapping up the year. So it's all counting down now, and you know, we're getting excited about this. How was your weekend?
It was good. How was yours?
Oh, I enjoyed myself. I mean, yesterday Liverpool won their match in grand style, so hey, why not?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So we start the show off every morning with some words of inspiration. So let's take a look at our quote today. The only true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing. The only true wisdom
is knowing
that you know nothing. And
so
that's from Socrates.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's an amazing quote, because, you know, thinking about the time in which Socrates lived, you know, and to think that today is so real, you know. I think that only one thing that drives us towards more knowledge, more wisdom, more success, more money, more of everything is the fact that there's always that hunger and that feeling that we don't have enough yet. You know, we don't have enough yet. And I think they said the only true wisdom is knowing that you don't know anything.
Yeah, and I think you stop growing when you begin to think that you've arrived, that you know everything, because then there's no drive, there's no incentive for you to be curious anymore. There's no challenge, and before you know it, you're just moving at the same
and then
you know place. But then the minute you find out, and even when you think that you've known everything, there's still an opportunity for you to challenge yourself in a different way.
Yeah. Speaking of knowledge, you know, a few weeks ago, on the 20th of October, there was this major accident that took place. And for me, the entire incident and the fallout from that is just a reflection of the fact that people in different spaces can become very complacent, very laissez-faire about their attitude towards doing the right things, and feeling that, oh, we know this already, let's just do it like this. It doesn't matter, it's not a big deal, you know, and then the consequences are dire. You know, in Agyapa, 22 people lost their lives, you know, when the Church of Prosperity collapsed on them. But we do have a report on that. So I think we should take a look at the report, and then we'll come back and continue the conversation.
On October 20, 2020, a 4-story church building at Agyapa in the eastern region belonging to the Church of Prosperity, headed by Prophet Isaac Akua, caved in while worshippers were engaged in service. The story caught the attention of the nation as a joint rescue team from Allied Security Services raced against time to save lives trapped under the rubble and retrieve dead bodies. More than 30 lives were saved while 22 others sadly passed away, with 8 persons sustaining various degrees of injuries. Subsequently, the Institution of Engineering and Technology Ghana set up a 4-member committee to investigate the cause of the collapse and make recommendations to avert future occurrences. Chairman of the committee, Engineer Henry Boateng, shared some of the findings of the report.
The Church of Prosperity acquired a building permit for a single structure at the Teiman South District Assembly at Agyapa for a single structure. Even the second structure had no structural design. But when they go to the site, the artisans leading the construction team advised the church that they can go higher. So they decided to go 4-story without any drawing. It was later that they had a CAD technician to design for them as-built drawing, but it was not completed. There wasn't proper coordination between the old and the new assembly for them to check whether they had a permit or not. So after the new assembly took over, in their opinion, they thought they had a building permit, so they never bothered to visit and ask them of their permits. At the base is a 200 by 200 square column. They started with a single story and later encased it with a round mold, and they had 600 millimeters diameter column in the upper section. So below the earth, which is the foundation, they have the spare column, which is very shallow, which is up to about 450 millimeters the depth. And this is the rod, which was placed directly on the earth.
What does the committee recommend to remedy such occurrences?
We are recommending to the government that henceforth, when the new assembly is being created, you should make sure that all the departments are in place, because Ashanti across the district assembly has no physical development departments. They rely on the physical planner at Agyapa, who oversees the activities if it doesn't help in development control. Again, they should equip the works department and the physical control department and make so that they can go all out to various sites to see to it that the right thing.
All right, so you have it there. This is one of the engineers who brought us this very detailed investigation and report on what happened with the collapse there. I think it's such an important thing, first of all, so I would like to really commend the Institute of Engineers and Technology for doing this.
In 2 weeks?
Yes,
Very impressive. It's just a 4-member committee.
It's amazing, that because so many times we have fires, we have building collapses and so on, and no report ever comes out.
Yeah, or we don't get to know the findings.
Exactly.
It's not released to the public even.
Yeah. It never comes out for us to even know what it is that went on and what can we learn, and so on and so forth. So this is really, really commendable. Kudos to all of the team members who did this. But the duty bearers, absolutely recalcitrant. You can't do this. You get a permit. The permit is expired. Then you proceed to go ahead and build. Now the permit itself, the original permit itself was given for a 1-story building. And it's this whole mindset of, it doesn't really matter, does it? Let's just go ahead and do it anyway. And there will always be somebody some strong arm somewhere insisting that people do the wrong thing. And I mean, look, we need to start having this culture of if you give me the instruction and I know it is wrong, what I'm about to do is wrong, I either walk away, I resign, I do whatever, but don't go ahead and do this, because right now, all the people involved, somebody should be arrested from the district assembly. Somebody should be arrested from who was involved in the construction. People who involved in the construction should be arrested. You see, because the people who were involved in the construction, somebody knew that the gauges that they were using were wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, you're supposed to use 25 newtons per square millimeter minimum strength, and you're using 12, which is less than half. That you are compromising the building. So even if it was a one-story building, the strength of concrete that they were using was already compromised. Then you go 4 floors. You see, and the 4th floor, okay, what is even more serious is that it was a penthouse, which means that you have weighty things in there as compared to the other floors, which probably nobody lives there. You have people living on the 4th floor. Yeah. All of this is a recipe for disaster. You know, and so they see other 4-story buildings around and they think, oh yeah, it's okay, you have a 4, we can also build one, and then cut corners. This is what happens when you cut corners.
And my thing is, private citizens are always going to be greedy. We are always going to find ways to cut corners, and it's really up to public authorities to ensure that they set in place measures to ensure that we don't do that.
Yeah.
So when you look at their findings, some of the observations they made was that there was absolutely no coordination between the new district, that's the Teiman South Akua District Assembly, and the mother district, Green Central Municipal Assembly, in respect of projects with development permit and level of execution in line with the national building regulations to ensure continuity. Right then and there, someone should be held accountable. The second point they made, the works department of the assemblies are not well resourced with the requisite equipment to ascertain quality of works going on at the developmental site. Another issue there. So these are all preventive measures that could have been put in place, and we would have saved 22 lives. The 8 people who are injured right now probably wouldn't have to be scarred for life if people had done the right things. Another thing they discovered, it was discovered that even though the district chief executive caused the church premises to be sprayed in line with the presidential directive of COVID-19 protocols, on Tuesday he did not find out whether they had a valid permit to put up such a building. So you're going to a place to disinfect it. The least you can do is ensure that they have the right permit to have that structure there. So beyond the contractors, beyond the pastor himself, all the state agencies that were supposed to ensure that this does not get to the point it got to should be held accountable, and they should all be prosecuted. This isn't about fining them, because we've lost 22 lives, 22 people who would have been going about their businesses if this had not happened. I'm so happy that these engineers did such a thorough job. Let's not treat it like every other investigation in this country. We talk about it, we put it down, it gathers dust, nothing is done about it. They've brought out their findings. They've held the contractors accountable. They've also held the agencies accountable. It's time for someone else to pick it up and say, we're going to prosecute you for sleeping on your job, and to serve as a deterrent, so that if somebody else is in an assembly somewhere, is in a district somewhere, is supposed to, the person is supposed to check these things and they are not doing it, they will think that, let me not sleep on this job because I will serve time in jail if something happens.
Absolutely. It's very important for us to make this call. And so all those people who are responsible, the government needs to come down on them hard and deal with them immediately. Now, let's take a look at the news making the rounds around the country.
Welcome to today's news roundup from the Western region. And my name is Sakyi, and to the details of the news. About 1,000 affected customers of collapsed Gold Coast Fund Management from Takoradi have threatened to vote against the MPP in the upcoming polls if the government fails to pay them their locked-up funds. They issued the threat after an emergency meeting with their national executives in Takoradi over the Security and Exchange Commission's announced partial bailout package. they told Citi News their savings have been locked up due to government poor handling of the financial sector and are unable to foot their health bills as well as meet pressing needs. Some of the visibly agitated customers showcased their NPP membership cards and voter ID cards while reiterating the threat to vote against the ruling government if their needs are not met. The National Public Relations Officer of the affected Gold Coast customers, Charles Nyami, after addressing the gathering, told Citi News they don't trust the procedure announced by SEC and wants a stress-free payment structure as was done for customers of the savings and loans companies. Also from the Western region, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, has announced a $300,000 sponsorship package for Karela United FC, a Premier League club based at Enyinase in the Elembele district of the Western region. The chief executive of GNPC, Dr. KK Sapon, made the announcement at the handing over of a GNPC-built AstroTurf park that would serve as the club's home base at Enyinase. Dr. Sapon told Citi News it was as a result of an MOU signed between the two that made GNPC the title sponsor of Karela United FC with annual sponsorship of $100,000 for the next 3 years. Justifying the sponsorship and the building of the AstroTurf park for the club, Dr. KK Sapon said this affords GNPC the opportunity to contribute to the harnessing of talent and skills development of Ghanaian youths. The executive director of GNPC Foundation, Dominic Edua, told Citi News the partnership with Karela is in line with its vision to spread the benefits of Ghana's petroleum resource revenues. Finally, from the Western region, as the December 7 general elections draw closer, some natives of Sekondi Takoradi based in Europe have begun to show interest in the quality of representation Sekondi Takoradi gets in Parliament. Daniel Atta, who is the founder of Homemakers Organization, a group of natives of Sekondi Takoradi based in Germany and Europe, has called on the people of Sekondi Takoradi to endeavor to make informed choices on December 7th. The founder told Citi News the Homemakers Advocacy Group is going to mount people's platform in Sekondi Takoradi for parliamentary candidates to answer specific questions to convince constituents for their vote. And this ends today's news roundup from the Western region, and I am Akwesi Enim.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of News Roundup on Citi TV. From the Ashanti region, my name is Hafiz Tijani. Coming up, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, says the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Ghana must be a concern for all stakeholders, especially when the country is preparing for a major election. The UNDP is urging effective stakeholder collaboration to deal with the trend to safeguard lives and properties. The UNDP is partnering with the National Peace Council to sensitize the youth to eschew election-related violence. Speaking during a sensitization program ahead of the December polls at Drabonso in the Setriafam Plains district of the Ashanti region, the peace analyst at the Ghana office of the UNDP, Madame Melody Azenim, said arms proliferation continue to be a challenge. Ashanti Regional Secretary of the Peace Council, Reverend Emmanuel Bedu Amwa, also urged the youth to play a role in protecting Ghana's democracy. The campaign, dubbed Ballots Without Bullets, is to influence public behavior through education on the dangers and abuse of guns before, during, and after the elections. Also, officials of the Electoral Commission in the Ashanti region have admonished electoral officers who will be deployed for the December polls to exhibit high levels of professionalism when discharging their duties. The Commission has warned that electoral officers whose conduct will go contrary to its rules and regulations will be dealt with according to the law. Officials of the Commission in the Ashanti region have reiterated their readiness to conduct a free, fair, and transparent election. Ashanti Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, Benjamin Banopio, tells Citi News the Commission expects the electoral officers to discharge their duties diligently and professionally. The Ashanti Regional Office of the Commission has taken delivery of electoral materials and has also begun deploying them to districts within the region. On the streets of Kumasi, Citi News spoke to some residents who said they are ready for the elections. Finally, the Mensha Palace has initiated a landscape restoration program to protect and preserve natural resources and water bodies within the Ashanti Kingdom. The program, which is being spearheaded by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II, is aimed at promoting the use of climate-smart agriculture technologies to build the resilience of smallholder farmers within the cash and food crops landscapes targeted under the project. Under the program, trees will be planted along Lake Bosonchi to ensure that human activities do not affect the resource, which is known to be the only natural lake in Ghana. The landscape restoration intervention around Lake Bosonchi will see the planting of 3 million trees on 4,000 hectares of land over a 5-year period. Ghana's only natural lake, Lake Bosonchi, has since 2016 designated a biosphere reserve site by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. But human activities around the lake continue to pose a threat to the water body. Project coordinator for the Asante Kingdom Landscape Restoration Program, Fred Che Sapon, tells Citi News the move was in response to an appeal made by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II for the protection of the lake. That will be all for today's edition of News Roundup on Citi TV. From the Ashanti region, I am Hafiz Tijani. Many thanks for watching.
All right, so that's it for the news making the rounds around the country. And we do have a packed show for you. On the nutrition segment, we're talking about how to check your own vitals at home. You know,
nice.
Yeah,
so you can check your BMI, you can check everything by yourself at home. That's amazing.
Our nutritionist is going to help us to get into that. Nice. So that's going to be interesting.
And then Chef Ruby is here. And you know when Chef Ruby is here, everybody's happy. I mean, Parker is happy, Evans is happy, even Rolex is happy because they get to eat. We're going to be doing all things chicken this morning, so you don't want to miss any of it. But of course, it's an interactive show. So wherever you're watching us from, let us know your thoughts with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Yes,
and our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you happen to be outside Ghana, kindly use +233 as the country code.
My name is Dziffa, Ametam.
And I'm David Kwekusechi. News Review is next. Don't go anywhere.
There is no promise we cannot keep. There is no commitment we cannot honor. There is no delivery we cannot guarantee. There is only one Bethel Logistics Company Limited, a licensed international freight forwarding and clearing agent, a trusted global brand with an extensive network for the movement of air freight and ocean freight worldwide. We are the trusted name for road freight into Western and Northern Africa. We are fully accredited by Ghana Customs and Excise. We cater for all your freight forwarding, customs clearing and forwarding, cross trades, inland transportation, internal cargo tracking systems, customer freight costing and consultancy, cold chain logistics management, logistics and warehousing, quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema, and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo countrywide. Call us on 0204 528 900 or 0244 707 859. Email info@bethellogistics.com. Locate us in Accra at North Ridge, adjacent Accra Girls High School, or in Tema at Community 4, or in Takrady on the second floor of the GCB building. Website bethellogistics.com. Bethlog, experts in shipping logistics.
Hi, my name is Salamatu. Yes, these are both me. You see, before free SHS, my life could have taken two very different paths. The SHS path depended on how much money my parents had, what sacrifices they were willing to make, and whether they would send me or my little brother Issa to SHS. The other part is what would have become of me if there was no free SHS. But today, thanks to free SHS, my future is bright and promising.
Congratulations, you have a name. He's a boy.
Instead of depending on others, I will stand on my own feet and help my family. Free SHS is where my dreams for a better future and the dreams of thousands of young girls become a reality. Don't let NDC take it away from us. Vote for NPP and give all Ghanaian girls a chance for a better future.
Welcome back. It is still Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. We have just 14 days to go until we determine who will serve us for the next 4 years. We're going to take a look at the news and the newspapers. We're going to take a look at some online stories, and then we'll introduce our guests who are already seated. Let's start off with the Ghanaian Times. The front page of the Ghanaian Times, we have government cuts soared for 400-ton waste treatment plant in the central region, and that story is on page 16. NPP NDC confirm receipt of new voters register. That story is on page 4. Police grab 90 suspected criminals in Accra. Finally, tragedy. 6 NDC supporters perish, 50 injured in accident on Franti Ajura Road. That's a very sad story there, and it's on page 3. We'll now go on to the Daily Graphic. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have change voting patterns, Akufo-Addo to Voltarians. Mahama tells Ashantis. So Mahama is in the Ashanti region trying to get Ashantis to vote for the NDC, and Akufo-Addo is in the voter region appealing to them to vote for the NPP, and that story is on page 13. Council of State praises EC for good work. That story is on page 13. December 7 polls, can parties shore up votes? It's a really great write-up, and it's on page 3 of the Daily Graphic. They compare what happened in 2012 to what happened in 2016 and are making some projections on what's going to happen this year. But the 2012 and 2016 ones are very, very good. We'll now go on to the New Crusading Guide. On the front page of the New Crusading Guide, we have election 2020. Hohoi falls for NPP over great development achievements. So there's a picture here of one of the parliamentary candidates for Hohoi. Well, he's contesting for the NPP, John Peter Amewu, and he's with, of course, the president there. That story is on pages 3 and 10 of the New Crusading Guide. We'll now go on to the Daily Statesman. On the front page of the Daily Statesman, we have NDC Bole Boys abandon Mahama. That story is on page 3. Volta saw little progress under NDC. Akufo-Addo commissions Ghana's first micro-hydro power station in Hohoi, and that story is on page 2. Government free Wi-Fi service for students begins. That story is on page 3 as well of the Daily Statesman. I'll take a look at our final newspaper, The Finder. On the front page of The Finder, we have free Wi-Fi takes off for tertiary institutions. Work is 80% complete on that of the SHSs. That's coming from Dr. Baumia, and that story is on page 2. We don't need new laws to fight anti-corruption. It's coming from INNI, and that story is on page 4. December 7 polls. If we sleep, it will slip. That's coming from Freddie Wasimewu Blay, and that story is on page 9. Volta region has seen zero progress under the NDC. That's coming from the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and that story is on page 9. And finally, Dagbon should vote Abudani Akufo-Addo to do more. That's coming from Dr. Baumia, and that story is on page 8. So if you pick up The Finder today, you'll get all of these stories. We have just 14 days to go till we vote. Let's take a look at some online stories, starting with citynewsroom.com. On citynewsroom.com, we have Mahama slams Akufo-Addo's handling of corruption fight. So take a look at that story later on. It has to do with the Agyapa royalties deal and matters arising. Elembele, one NDC supporter dead, others injured after being run over by vehicle. It's really, really tragic story there. We have no political agenda. We only want debt cleared, IPPs to government. We know that a couple of weeks ago they came out to say that we might experience light-offs if government does not pay them, and now they are saying it's not politically backed, they just want to be paid. Prepare to refund monies you made from Agyapa deal, Mahama to government officials. We'll now take a look at some business news from your most comprehensive business news platform, citybusinessnews.com. End of the road for 8 fund managers as official liquidator gazettes them. So 8 fund managers have come to the end of the road. Ghana's debt stock hits 273.8 billion Ghana cedis, crosses dreaded 70% debt to GDP mark. What does this mean for our development? We have no political agenda. We only want debt cleared, IPPs to government. Stakeholders want Akufo-Addo to assent to Real Estate Authority Bill 2020. Anglo Gold, Ashanti, Iduaprim Mine wins 2019 Mining Company of the Year award at GMIA. We'll now take a look at some more local news from myjoyonline.com. On myjoyonline.com, we have politicians setting dangerous examples through COVID-19 super spreader rallies. It's coming from the Ghana Medical Association. We'll now go on to some global news from BBC.com. U.S. election 2020, Trump ally urges him to accept defeat in U.S. vote. So he's right next to Chris Christie there, and we're going to find out what Trump will do as far as letting go and allowing Joe Biden take over the U.S. for the next 4 years. But it is an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we do want to hear from you. If you're on Facebook, you can comment down below. If you're on other social media platforms, the hashtag to use is Breakfast Daily. And if you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, use the country code +233, and we will receive your messages. I have with me Elvis Darko, who's the editor of The Finder. Good morning.
Morning, Dziffa.
How are you?
By God's grace, I'm good. Yourself?
I'm good. How was your weekend?
It wasn't bad at all.
Okay.
At least I had a little rest on Saturday, but yesterday, full work.
Full work. Thank you for being with us. I also have with me Kwame Jantua, who's a lawyer and a former vice chair of PIAC. Good morning, Mr. Jantua.
Morning, Dziffa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How was your weekend? How did you celebrate your birthday last week?
Oh, it was easy. Cool. Nothing extraordinary. Just thank God for another year. The fact that I'm breathing.
That's good.
But you know, Dziffa, this debt thing has really...
Of course, 70%.
71%. We reached debt. We reached HIPIC.
You think so?
Yeah. How are we going to pay 278 billion?
I mean, I'm sure we have some strategies in place. We're able to get more locally generated revenue.
You know, loans are going to be very difficult to acquire. Investment is not going to be attractive.
Yeah.
The new government that comes in might have to put in new taxes. It's not an easy time for Ghanaians with this kind of debt.
Yeah.
And they are not even talking about cutting expenditure.
So that's the key. We're able to at least cut expenditure.
Yeah, just try and cut expenditure. That's the first point of call.
Yeah.
Cut expenditure. If you're not ready to do it, it's tough.
What do you make of this, Elvis? That we've crossed 70% as far as our debt to GDP ratio.
Debt to GDP simply means that you are not generating enough revenue, so you have to rely on borrowing to be able to facilitate the development your people so desire.
What would this mean for the future generation?
But you can't borrow because there's no confidence in the economy.
Future, you will borrow.
Well, very difficult.
We can also get revenue domestically.
The interest that you pay will be higher.
The point is, you can get domestic revenue. But what is about the revenue?
So you can tax people domestically. You can start getting more manufacturing plants in place.
You see, this country, we sit down and we talk, but we do nothing.
You think so?
Of course. If Ghana Revenue Authority is sitting there, do you know property rate, how much they can make from cantonment alone in a year? East Legon, new settlements. Do you know how much money people which belong to the state that is going to post pocket? The masons who charge 100 cedis a day for work that don't pay a peso as taxes. But the peanuts we get from our workplace, they get the tax before we even pay. The problem, we are paying people at GRA to do very little. They are supposed to be the vehicle to collect taxes for the state. But they sit there and target the few that are in informal sector. And the majority that makes so much money from the informal sector, which they can easily even target and make money, they will not. And that's why can't GRA take 10,000 national service people a year?
How do you
can't GRA take 10,000 people for national service a year? Every district, everywhere, just say, yours is to go and check everybody. If a mason is at the site, we want the money. The assembly should know that we have given a permit for somebody to build here, visit the site, and collect the money. Please, we can never, you see, the problem is that what we are also shouting about is nothing. Whether you like it or not, so long as you want the rules, you want the hospital, you want the others, and we can't generate the revenue locally to do it. If the government, any government wants to do, you have to go and borrow money to come and do it.
So is it a lack of willpower on the end of GRA, or is it more convenient for us to just go out there and borrow?
It is not more convenient for us to go, but we are not demanding answers from the people. Because if we who are in the formal sector, we cannot avoid the taxes that are charged. Why does somebody with the formal sector make 3 or 4 times what I make in a month, not paying it to the state and be working free?
All right.
When they come and do your POP ceiling in your house, or your tiling, do you know how much they charge you? Who takes any taxes from that which these people charges?
Okay.
But they want the good roads to drive on. They want water to flow to their homes. They want electricity in their communities. Where is the state going to get money when you are not contributing to the kitty? So we cannot stop borrowing until we decide that we must generate the revenue locally. And if we sit here, the last time Occupy Ghana did an estimate that their estimate of all the Auditor General reports so far, not the other corruption, the one that have been done by the Auditor General says this person took money, didn't use it, so should bring it. They have estimated that we have lost about 40 billion cedis so far to that level of corruption, just for the Auditor General's report. Okay, we have lost 40 billion. And this money are going to people's pockets. We are not ready to retrieve them back. Why wouldn't you borrow and somebody put the money in his pocket and it's not used for the project, and you allow the person to go home and be sleeping and chopping the money?
Thank you, Elvis.
How do you spend the money? You borrow more.
On to our actual topic.
This should have been part of the topic.
We will discuss it. We've discussed it. We spent
so let's give me the first topic before we go to where you want to go.
Let's go to
so that we don't deep into it.
We will, but let's go. We'll come back to it. But let's take a look at our first story here. I'm reading from citinewsroom.com, and it says, Kodeo skeptical about EC's promise to declare election results results within 24 hours. So I'm going to read this one. The Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, CODEO, says it is skeptical about the Electoral Commission's promise to declare results of the 2020 polls within 24 hours. The Electoral Commission, at an interaction with the Council of State on Friday, November 20th, 2020, said it would declare the results a day after closure of polls on the December 7th general elections. But the national coordinator of CODEO, Albert Kofi Ahen, in an interview on Eyewitness News, said it does not see how feasible it will be, especially with the introduction of regional coalition centers. So I'm going to quote Mr. Ahen. He says, "I was excited when I heard it, but what makes me skeptical is the fact that they have introduced the regional coalition centers, meaning the results will go through the regions, but my problem is how they are going to pull votes from the hinterlands. Are they going to send helicopters to draw the votes cast from there? If they have put measures in place to cover that, all the better. Let's give them the benefit of doubt. Early results will be good for the country." So Elvis, what do you make of this? EC saying that we'll get our election results announced within 24 hours, and then CODEO saying that they're not sure how that will be, especially getting the details from our hinterlands.
They have to tell us how they intend to do it. They've already said that they're not going to use electronic declaration of results. If they were saying they were going to do electronic declaration, they would say, okay, we are going to do something new compared to the previous, so the results will come earlier. First of all, the EC should have told us what and what have been responsible for the delay results in the past. What solutions have they found to those delays? If they are going to give us this, then we will be analyzing it and think that, okay, if these were the challenges in the past and they have come up with A, B, C, D, then the possibility of what they are saying will happen can happen. But they just said it. I read all the stories. I've not seen the EC identifying the reasons or the factors that delay the results in the past. I've not seen EC outline clearly what they have put in place to counter those delays in order to make sure that the results trickle in at the right time. As I said, if it's an electronic declaration, then they said maybe they have given every polling station an iPad with a software that once the results are certified, it is transmitted through that software direct to EC headquarters where the verification and certification will be done. Then I would have, but you say you're not going to do electronic verification. So it means that what we are going to do is through our normal fax system. That's what we know we do, where the results from the polling station goes to the collation center, and when it is certified at the collation center, then everybody signs, then they all look at the fax machine, they transmit it through fax to the head office. That is what we know is done in the past. And as Mr. Ahin, who has worked with the Electoral Commission for years and understand the nitty-gritty and inside out of EC, is saying, now you have brought on another layer. Now the results are not going to come from the Constituency Coalition Center straight to the EC headquarters. Now you are saying that from the Constituency Coalition Center, it has to go to the Regional Coalition Center before it comes to Accra. So it means you have actually added another delay to the process. So for me, until the EC comes out with the clear modalities as to what pertains in the past, what were the problems with the past arrangement, what they are bringing on board that is new, how that has resolved the challenges of the past, I can't trust the EC that they can deliver results in 24 hours. Because as Mr. Ahin rightly said, we have votes coming from very, very deep hinterlands in this country. And before they can cross rivers and mountains to be able to get those results even to the collation center, it's a different ballgame altogether. So it's something that they need to come back again to explain in detail how they are sure. Because you see, what they have done now, they've given Ghanaians a second hope. In case they are not able to deliver, then they will get accused of trying to manipulate the election results for somebody. Because you promised that you deliver within 24 hours. Now, 36 hours, 48 hours you are not delivering. Then people will begin to accuse you of attempting to rig the election.
Should they have just delivered on the 24 hours instead of announcing it?
Yes, for me, they should just have delivered instead of announcing it. And even before even if they want to announce, they don't have a problem. But as I said, tell me what the past situation was.
Okay.
The key challenges. Tell me the new strategy. How does the new strategy address the challenges in the past situation? Then I can myself do the analysis and say, if this was the situation, if this is what you intend to do, yes, then you can address the challenges of the past. But they are not giving us that detailed analysis. And those of us who have followed elections, we know that it's not easy, even at the Constituency Collation Center, for them to even accept that this is the final results. It's something. And that, you see, this ECR always said, they need to understand something. That was the hope in 2016, that the electoral results were going to be delivered as quickly as possible. Because the ECR that asked for them, they promised that they would go to the electronic declaration, so they think they could get it faster. But what happened? On the day of the declaration, we had to say almost 3 days. And they came back to tell us that, look, the electronic declaration we planned, we suspected that someone was trying to hack into the system, so we no longer will go back to manual. And then you realize the tension that was in the system after 48 hours. So I don't think that they should be creating this kind of situation that will breed tension after 24 hours after election. So I think that they should be able to come in and explain what they want to do. Because the fax system you are talking about, you still need internet.
Yeah. Okay.
Where is the internet in something village in something to transmit the results?
Okay.
So I think that they have told us that now we are not going to do constituency collation, no regional collation. Now we have done a system where when it is certified at the polling station, it is transmitted straight to Accra. So if you cut off those delays, so when we certify in Accra, we are delivering. Okay. But you have not told us anything, and just that we want to deliver the result.
So you would want EC to
I want the details of how they intend to achieve that. Then we can analyze if it's possible or not.
Thank you, Elvis. Mr. Janto.
I don't know why the Electoral Commission wants to put themselves in that kind of dilemma.
Maybe they can deliver.
If they said, we will try and deliver the election in the shortest possible time, it gives a time frame. You've now pigeonholed yourself to 24 hours. Do you know what is going to happen? Do you know what equipment is going to fail, is not going to fail? In 2016, there were certain areas that weren't able to vote. They had to vote the second day. That delays the results. So I don't know why they want to pigeonhole themselves in that situation for anybody to point fingers. And they know how there's a thin line between violence and having a peaceful election, especially with this one.
Yeah.
Very thin line. Why do they want to put themselves in that situation? To prove what to who? To say what to who? Rather tell us the processes you are taking towards a peaceful election and some of the things you put in place so that we have a peaceful election. If it's even 48 hours, people will understand. Have we been able to declare election results in 24 hours in this country, in this Fourth Republic?
Maybe they want to set a new standard.
You don't set a new standard when you are not God and know what's going to happen going forward. You don't know. You're going by what you have now. What if some of these machines fail and the backups also fail? What happens? And you can't extend the voting time from 7 to 5. What happens? It has to go into the following day. No, they should be very careful. They should be very careful, and they should make sure that they don't create a certain atmosphere that those who want to create mayhem will now sit and say, okay, they said 24 hours. 24 hours is not going to happen. They're going to cause trouble. Yeah. They shouldn't do that. I mean, who gave them the not authority, but why would they come and tell this to Ghanaians? What are they trying to prove to us? Okay. You see, it's a new electoral commission. Do the first voting. If it so happens that the MPP come into power in 2021, the electoral commission will be still there. If the NDC come, there will be no more there. Then in the next election, if you're still there, then you can now, because you've had the experience and you know exactly what has happened in the presidential and parliamentary elections, then you, based on that, you can say, yeah, we can confidently say that in 2024 we will declare the elections in 24 hours, but not with this one. I think it's wholly irresponsible for them to make such a statement.
Okay, now we'll tie the death story into this being an election year and us having just 14 days to go till we vote. And I'm reading from citybusinessnews.com, and it says Ghana's debt stock hits 273.8 billion Ghana cedis, crosses dreaded 70% debt to GDP mark. Ghana's total public debt stock has risen by 54.8 billion Ghana cedis in the first 9 months of this year, hitting 273.8 billion as at the end of September 2020. Government is currently under pressure to slow down the rate of debt accumulation. The new debt figures pushes Ghana's debt to GDP ratio to 71%, crossing the dreaded 70% threshold for the first time since December 2016, when the figures stood at 73.3%. Lawyer Jantua, your thoughts on this, especially now that we're going to vote? How important is it for both political parties to put our economy first?
Well, that is one reason why we're voting a political party into power, to take control of the country's finances and make sure that, you know, what the country needs they provide. But let me take it from
where
Elvis' first comment. The responsibility of the people knowing that they have to pay taxes is on government. And there has to be this relationship where government can talk directly to the people, and not because of votes, they don't say nothing. If the people are supposed to pay taxes, if we can get taxes from certain areas like property tax and all that, the government should tell the people, we don't have the money. If you don't pay the taxes, we can't build the road in your place. And they go ahead and not build it. For the people to see that they have a responsibility. Because these are the same people. If government now puts measures in place to collect, they'll be the same people who will protest.
But have we done enough as a government to show people that these are the results of your taxes? When we have stories of corruption day in, day out, doesn't that deter people from even going out there to pay their taxes?
You see, one thing that is a challenge in this country, government most times, not only this one, let's use the Fourth Republic, having been able to tell us really how they've used the taxes. They'll come and tell us, yeah, we've done this project, done this project, done this project, but then when the Auditor General comes, you see a whole heap of corruption in there. So people become very skeptical about government saying we've used it for this, we've used it for this, we've used it for that. And even when they say we've built roads, within a rainy season, the roads are spoiled again. Who monitors the work that has been done? And so it goes to show that there's really no link between government and people, where governments can, you know, let the people know how they are spending the money. So people tend to, oh, we can't be bothered. They said they are doing this, but we can't see it. And not until we get to a stage where we stop campaigning after elections and we stop this division that political parties create within the people, it's going to be very difficult for the people to come together and really point a finger at government. Because if my party is in power, and because of that division, the opposition said the party hasn't done it, I would make sure I defend my party hook, line and sinker. And we are seeing it today. FPP will come and say we've done X, we've done Y. NDC will say you haven't done X, you've done Y, and supporters will follow both their party. It shouldn't be like that. It should be a situation where, and this is where, you know, sometimes it's very difficult to ascertain whether a president that has come into power is president for all. If it's president for all, then it's easy for us to now put him on the cosh and say, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, as a collective people.
But once they're in power, they are president for all of us.
How many people see it? The opposition, do they see it?
Okay.
Right now, we are virtually a two-party state.
But that's not unique to just Ghana.
Well, hang on. We are virtually a two-party state. A two-party state where there's mass division between the two. Between not only the political parties, but supporters of the two political parties, even after elections. If after elections, we can come together and put all that behind us and say, this is our president, let's support him. If he doesn't do the right thing, let's say it. And let's put them really under the hammer. You said you've done X, you've done Y. We haven't seen that you've done X, you've done. And it's not only when the road is done. 3 months, 6 months, a year after the road is done, if it collects potholes and it goes bad again, we hold them responsible. Look, when I was at PIAC, The monies that came from the oil revenue, which went into the districts and the local areas, that was meant for particular projects. We discovered that instead of that money used for these particular projects, they were used to pay past debts.
Wow. So we'll go for a break. On that note, Ghana's debt to GDP ratio has officially crossed 70%. We'll be taking a look at some of the opinions of our guest here. It is an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. If you're on social media, use the hashtag BreakfastDaily. If you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550 585832. We'll be right back.
Hello Ghanaians, my name is Mrs. Kosi Yankee Aye. I am the Executive Director for the National Board for Small Scale Industries, NBSSI. Through the CABAS initiative, we have disbursed funds to over 100,000 beneficiaries across the nation. Several local businesses have seen the impact of our work, and we will continue to give more of them hope amidst this global pandemic era that has negatively impacted all of us.
NBSSI, a new era for SMEs.
Welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. We have 14 days to go till we determine who will serve us for the next 4 years. It is an interactive show. So wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. If you're on social media, please use the hashtag Breakfast Daily. If you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550 585832. Before the break, we're discussing Ghana's economy, our debt to GDP ratio, and what it means for our future and the generations to come, especially now that we're going out to vote, and what we should be holding our leaders accountable for as far as getting enough revenue domestically. Now, Agyapa, one part of the conversation has been expenditure, cutting down on expenditure before we even go after the informal sector to tax them. Has government done enough to cut down on expenditure, close some of the loopholes that result in us losing so much money before we even talk about widening the tax net?
If government has cut expenditure, we won't be where we are. There will be at least some percentage of revenue in there that we could use to offset this debt. And this kind of expenditure we talk about. So for instance, and I always use this example, jute sacks that we export our cocoa in. Do we produce it here? No. We spend over 500 million in bringing in jute sacks from Bangladesh. If we were to do it here, will we not cut that money? There's so many loopholes we need to cut. And if we don't cut those loopholes, it becomes extremely difficult. It all goes to how do we also produce things for ourselves to cut imports coming in. If you're not able to do that, it becomes very difficult. Look, at this point, one of the challenges we would have is the kind of interest that the loans that we go and get will attract. Will attract higher interest because they'll be very skeptical whether we can pay our loans or not. Apart from that, whatever revenue we get goes to paying those loans, goes to paying the interest of those loans. That revenue that was supposed to stay in country for us to do our development is flying out. And so it's essential that we are able to cut expenditure all round. And if it gets to a point where we are over what we had budgeted for, we stop. Some countries have done it. Chile has done it. When they then went over what they had budgeted for, they stopped all projects. But Ghanaians should be made to understand and not demand so much when the money is not available. That is how perhaps, looking at this particular situation, it gives you an inkling why Agyapa came into being?
I think that's a bit of a stretch, no?
It's not a stretch.
How so?
How did the Minister of Information explain Agyapa? He said the money to fund it's we don't need to pay any interest on it. It's our own money, and we're taking it up front. We can do projects. What does that mean? It means that going for these loans and paying big interest does not help us. Yeah. And so they need something that we won't have to do that. Unfortunately, they didn't handle Agyapa properly. And as I keep saying, it could have been beneficial to Ghana. But the way money is being handled has made it difficult for people to believe government that they had good intentions.
Thank you
so let's try as much as possible to make sure that, first of all, first point of call, cut expenditure before we now do the following thing. It might take 6 months, it might take 8 months, it might take a year, but it will benefit us if we do that.
Elvis, Ajanta talked about prioritizing the nation once one political party loses power. How do we get to the point where we say, for the sake of the future generation, we're going to really pay attention to our debt stock and ensure that we are all on one page as far as getting enough revenue domestically?
Debt to GDP is not a problem if you are generating a revenue. So the problem with your debt to GDP is about how are you able to service the debt. And that is why when you are not generating enough revenue, so if they compare your revenue to your GDP and look at your debt to GDP, they say with your revenue you may not be able to service your debt. That's where the alarm comes in. But debt to GDP of 71% will not be an issue if our GDP is $1 trillion. Okay? It will not be an issue. Okay? But that is not the case. Japan, debt to GDP is 237%. Japan. Their debt to GDP is 237%. Italy, which is an advanced country, 135% debt to GDP. Okay? Go to the almighty United States of America, the biggest economy in the world. Their debt to GDP is 107% to GDP. Why is it that people are not much concerned about these big countries? It's because their revenue to GDP, what the economy is able to produce and generate in a year, shows that even that debt we are talking about, if it's about payment, they are in the position to pay. But so revenue is the key. It's not the debt to GDP. The debt to GDP is scary because we look at your revenue and think that the revenue you are generating, if you are carrying this debt, it means that you will not be able to pay. So the focus should be on the revenue.
But should we be alarmed though? Because I mean, we have one district, one factory that we're working on. Our great minister came out to say that we're going to expand the kind of cash crops that we export out of the country. It looks as though we're going to be fine.
The revenue is not only about export revenue.
Well, if
domestic revenue generation is key. So, added value, I agree with you.
So added value export instead of primary product
export. But at the same time that we, the people who are shouting that debt to GDP is going up, we are the same people who expect us to be recruited to the Ghana Armed Forces, to be recruited to the Ghana Education Service, to be recruited to the Ghana Health Service, to be recruited all government agencies. The last time the Minister of Education held the president, within the 4 years, they have recruited over 90,000 people just for Minister of Education. Let's go to Minister of Health. They also are mentioning almost a similar number. The armed forces, police, and the rest, there is over 100,000. All these people, you are adding them with the wage bill, and you need to pay them salary at the end of the month.
Have we incentivized the private sector enough for them to be able to also?
That is why we must do everything possible to make a policy like one district, one factory to work. Because it is when you shift the burden, of employment from the state to the private sector, that the taxes that the state will collect, it can have enough for it to use for development. But when we fail to shift the burden of employment, of revenue generation, of income generation from the state to the private, but everybody wants a job in the government sector, how are you paying your salary if you want a job in the government sector? Revenue is not going up. You only get your salary when government goes to borrow the money to pay you your salary. So we need to look at our economy and understand that so long as we are not oiling the private sector in a way, we should be able to have a policy and say, health sector, we want 40% of the burden of health sector to go to the private sector. We want 40% of education to go to the private sector. What incentives can we give to these sectors that they can achieve that goal? When they achieve that, what it means is that 40% of employment of Ghanaians into all those sectors are the burden of the private sector. then the government is not overburdened by increasing the wage bill because people are crying for jobs and going to look for the same money loans to pay themselves generate revenue. The moment you oil the private sector with this kind of incentive and they're able to take it up and establish and grow, it meant that even investment in those sectors are no longer the burden of the government by the private sector. So the truth of the matter is that, and this is how we are going to generate the revenue. Because if the private sector employs the people and pay the taxes, it's the taxes that the state is going to use to do that. So the economy of Ghana, the truth of the matter is that we need to do a lot more about how to bring up this economy to a level where the private sector can function effectively and take some of the burden from government. In fact, private sector took the major burden from government in terms of many things that we do. But because of the nature of the economy, we are having problems. That's why if you can't feed your people and food prices are going up, how do you expect to talk about inflation? So we need the planting for food and jobs, whatever we are doing. It should not be rhetoric. Now we say it is successful.
Please wrap up.
Can we also look at how we can get roads and rail lines to
Agyapa has turned out? But you've got to have the evidence to prosecute anybody. The fact that, you know, some of the things that have been made and have been said, you know, tend to push towards some impropriety has happened there, does not show that that is the evidence that you can use. So hopefully, if that is what he is saying, he will get the evidence to prosecute anybody he feels has spent money. And if that is so, yes, let the courts judge who is guilty and who is innocent. But I don't think for President Mahama's stature, when he makes a statement, he is just not doing propaganda, you know, to whip up people's sentiments. But I expected him to go by the law. We would take them to court. We would let the courts determine who has spent what, who hasn't spent what, and the courts will determine if they are guilty to retrieve the money, like they are doing Woyome. It has to go through that process. And I don't expect, because of votes, you stand on the platform and say things willy-nilly just like that. Like the Electoral Commission is saying 24 hours they'll declare voting results.
Thank you.
We have to be, you know, disciplined in our utterances, especially with those who hold certain powers in this country and our leaders. We have to be. I don't see why President Mahama would make such a statement just like that without evidence. It could have happened that, yes, some monies have gone awry, but the evidence needs to show, the courts need to prove, and they need to prove them guilty before you can retrieve any money.
So he can make a definite statement.
Well, he should go through the process. I expect him to go through the process. We will take them to court. This is what we suspect. Attorney General will take them to court. We will get the courts to handle it, and if they're found guilty, they would pay that money. Fine, I don't have a problem there.
Okay, thank you. Elvis.
Well, that's what I don't have. It's about due process. So that is what I think a presidential candidate, he should focus on. If he talks about due process, if Ghana's money is taken by some people and you are retrieving it for Ghana, every Ghanaian will be happy. You understand it? So nobody will be against you for retrieving money for people. But let the issues be clear to the people. As we speak, not a single dollar or CD of any royalty man has gone to anybody. Anybody tell any royalty man it's a lie. Because no royalty man has gone to anybody. The contention about Agyapa is about hiring of consultants. How consultants were hired to be able to put together the SVP. The gold royalty, not a capre, has gone to anybody. So nobody has embezzled any royalty money. So if you are talking about the money used to hire the transaction advisor and consultant to work on the thing, be plain to the people.
Okay, so he should be
explain the issues
specific about where he's going to retrieve the money.
Two, nobody owns a share in Agyapa as we speak. Agyapa as we speak is 100% owned by government of Ghana. It only private investors, both Ghana and foreign, can only get a share when we succeed in listing on the stock exchange. As we speak, Agyapa is not listed on any stock exchange. The plan is to list, but it has not been done. So nobody owns any shares in Agyapa as we speak. Agyapa is 100% owned by government of Ghana as we speak. So to say that 49% has been given to some hidden investors in offshore, it can't be the truth. The truth is that if we had listed on the stock exchange of London and Ghana, which was the plan, it is only at that point, after successful listing, before we can say somebody owns any part of Agyapa.
Maybe he was referring to the legal advisors and the transactional advisors.
That's what I'm saying, that you want voters to vote for you. Let that be clear. Don't confuse the people just because of vote. Let's be clear. Say that, yes, they want to do this. Yeah, it's true. They have hired people to put together the SVP. Those who were hired with paid money. We think that the process used to hire those people, we think they didn't follow the procurement law or something. And therefore, for that reason, let it be clear. But don't create the impression as if gold royalties have been given to some people to put in their pocket. Not a person of any gold royalties has gone to anybody's pocket. The only money that somebody might go to is the consultant, transaction advisor, which were hired to put together the deal. They are the only people who have been paid some money. So no royalty has gone to any pocket. And President Mahama should also take it that, look, we have been paying royalties to chiefs and these people in the community for ages. Go to the community and find out the level of development. Has anybody asked the chiefs and the people what they've used those monies for? You cannot believe the same things and expect a different result. If the agreement is that we are not seeing much of the money, if those chiefs are told that, look, instead of us giving you the royalties in bits and pieces, and maybe because of that reason you are not able to use for anything, if we do Agyapa and we give you your 10 years or 5 years royalties together, maybe you can do physical development for the people city, because the money that will come to you will be bigger. The people can then see the benefit of money in their community. If we are doing things that we think that will change the status quo and will bring better results, I will never be against that. So see, you shouldn't create the impression as if going to list royalties is a bad thing. It's about what have you gotten from mining. If we do it the other way around by going through the Agyapa, can we raise money upfront and use to do visible projects that people can say, oh, this money, when they monetize the royalties in the trade, we got maybe $2 million or $3 million. That's why the committee was able to do A, B, C, D. Then the current situation where we say we give the chiefs the money every year in bits and pieces, we are not seeing the impact on the people, can be dealt with. So for me, let's be clear. Nobody has benefited from any single royalty money as we speak. Agyapa has been registered in Jersey in UK and registered in Ghana. It's also registered at the Registrar General's Department. The plan is to list it in UK and list it on the Ghana Stock Exchange. That has not been done. It is only after listing before any private individual, whether Ghanaian or foreign, can own any shares in the Agyapa. So as we speak,
we can still investigate the legal advisors and the transactional.
Why not? If you think that the way they were hired, they didn't follow the laid down rules in hiring them. Then we can. But PPA boss is being asked to because of breaching procurement rules. Yeah. Agreements was removed for breaching procurement rules.
You mean Charlotte said. Let's move on.
So if we think that the hiring process breached the procurement rules, that can be investigated, and if you find that that is the truth, then let's sanction that the court to offer can offer.
Thank you.
But let's stop deceiving Ghanaians that some people have pocketed Ghana's gold royalties.
Okay.
Nobody has pocketed the city of gold royalties in Ghana.
Thank you very much, Elvis. We have received some messages from you guys, so I'll read it and then we'll take a look at our final story. So Tofik from Kaswa says, good morning, my fellow Ghanaians. 14 days to elections. This election is not about NDC or MPP. It's about the future of Ghana. The future is about getting more youth educated. It is about sustaining the energy system. It is about creating jobs for the youth, which John Mahama, okay, so after all of this, you are saying 4 more for Nana, all right. AU Farouk from Tamalino says, good morning, President Nando, 4 more to do more, to repeat PDS scandal, cash for seed scandal, boss scandal. Okay, you are saying Mahama should come back. As a developing country with resources, we need to harness to progress, judicious use of resources devoid of corruption. We can make a headway. So thank you guys so much. I have more of your messages we'll be reading about. Take a look at our final story. The flag bearer of the NDC is in the Ashanti region, telling people from Kumasi that MPP has taken them for granted and that they should vote for NDC. And the president is also in Hohoi, telling Voltarians that the umbrella has failed them and that they should vote for the MPP. So I'm reading from citynewsroom.com. It says, Volta region experienced zero progress under NDC government. That's coming from the president. I'm going to quote him. He says, the time has come with Hohoi in the lead for the Volta region to come and sit on the elephant And the promise I am making to you is that when you get on the elephant, you will never get off the elephant. You will stay there and stay there for years and years to come. He went on to talk about, you know, the umbrella having holes in it and how the umbrella is no longer working, so the elephant is the way to go. Mr. Jantwa.
Political rhetoric. Well, they both want to win seats in each other's stronghold, and they'll say anything and do anything to let that happen. It's up to the people to decide whether what they're saying is true, whether they've seen any development, compare the development in the previous government to the current government, and make their minds up.
Okay.
Sometimes most of these things politicians say, when you get to the actual voting box, you don't even think about it. You just feel that I'm more inclined to this particular political party, so let me vote for them.
Should we move away from that notion of I'm inclined to this and focus on what have they actually delivered?
But we can only do that if we're united people. We can only do that if we're united people. But that would be good. And, you know, we need to get to a point where politicians don't just come and speak to us. That's why I'm in favor of town hall campaigning.
Okay.
Where the flag bearer is sitting there and the people are putting questions to that flag bearer and they're getting answers.
But with social media now, some people can...
How many people read? Ghanaians are known not to be reading people. Some people read. And so if we have campaigns where it's town hall and people ask questions to the flag bearer and the flag bearer answers, it's a much more better system where people can now digest what the person has said and even discuss it amongst themselves. This is the answer he gave when we asked these questions, and ask pertinent questions.
But we have members of parliament engaging their constituencies on that level, and we still don't see
how many members of parliament do it? Most parliamentarians go to the constituency to do these things when it's election time.
Okay, so that's
how many of the parliamentarians do you even hear speaking in parliament?
But how sustainable would this be, this town hall thing, for presidential candidates to do it?
If it's on a continuous basis, it's even better than having the debate.
Okay.
Because you are interacting with the people. It's the people who vote you into power. So if we have these town hall meetings, the people will be able to put the questions they want to put to the flag bearer.
Okay, thank
you.
But
if we don't do that, and you know the flag bearer comes and says A, B, C, D, E, they haven't done anything in your constituency, and you know people will judge. Say, okay, we didn't see this, we didn't see that. They can ask questions. Why is GDP 273.8 billion? Tell us why. You are in power. Tell us why. And that flag bearer will put it. So that's why, for me, I like the Westminster system of governance, where the Prime Minister comes into Parliament and questions are put directly to him. So if this was the system, the British system, the Prime Minister Akua will go to Parliament and the question will be asked him, why do we have debt 273.8 billion?
But in a country where the majority in Parliament is MPP, what difference do you think that would make?
Well, the questions will be put to them and the people will listen. Look, listen, I'm not sure whether you watch the British Parliament. I watch the British Parliament a lot.
Yeah,
and when you
really
see,
intense.
yes, and when you see the kind of questions that are brought in, whether majority, one is majority and one is minority in terms of numbers, they ask the questions that the people want to know.
Yeah, but within our context, do you think the majority would say anything against the executive?
They wouldn't say, but the people would judge.
Because it happens in Ghana. Ministers are summoned by parliamentarians, but do you see the majority critiquing the governing party the way they should?
Is the president summoned by, by parliament to come and answer questions?
Okay.
And what do you get? You get spokespeople speaking on behalf of the president.
And is there anything wrong with that?
Is there something wrong with it? Is it the spokespeople who put the, in place, put the projects
and then we have the State of the Nation address, which is usually...
How many times can we question the president of the State of the Nation address? My emphasis is putting the person who has control of the country's finances and is responsible for making the country work.
Minister of Finance goes to Parliament.
I mean, they go to Parliament. I mean, the people, they go to Parliament, yes. They say what they have to say there, yes. But the people still need to ask questions.
All right, thank you very much, Lawyer Johnson.
Is it Parliament that puts government into place?
Okay, I want to give Elvis a chance to respond to this flag bearer of NDC being in the Ashanti region and the president being Hohoi asking the people of Volta region to let go of the umbrella and hop on the elephant.
It's very difficult to climb an elephant.
Have you tried it?
And very easy to hold an umbrella.
It's okay. Let's allow Elvis.
All of them are looking for votes, and I think it's just normal. But they also understand that every power in the world, parties have their strongholds. No matter what you do, their stronghold will still get the massive votes there.
So you think this will not make any difference?
Yeah,
in the
I think that rather that they should rather concentrate on their strongholds rather. And get, for me, if you ask me, to get even higher votes from their stronger holds, and a swing region like central region, where they can easily switch to a particular party, they should really fool there. And Greater Accra, which has the highest number of votes, they should fool there. And then they should focus on messages that will attract the middle-minded people.
Not the people who are already
decided. Because your grassroots, whether you like it or not, whether your policies are bad or good, they will vote for you.
Yeah.
So whatever you do, they are on your side. But the people in the middle who can say, I am voting for you because of your track record. I'm voting for you because of something you have said that struck me. I think that those are the areas I think that their messages should be focused on.
Okay.
Because if the 2016 result is anything to go by, it tells you clearly that we have almost 1 million people in this country who can decide that we are voting this way or the other way, depending upon the messages they got from you and based on your track record. So for me, I'll say if I'm the presidential candidate, my focus will be messages that will really be targeted at this class of people. Because for my stronghold, excuse me today, whatever I say, whether it's sensible or not, they will clap for me. But for these people, when I say something, they are going to scrutinize and analyze before they conclude that I want to vote for you or not. So for me, with almost 1 million of those people in the middle voting for Akua in 2016, it tells you that if you have the right message, the right posture, the right track record, you are likely to attract those people to your fold.
But at that time, NPP didn't, well, Akua government didn't have the track record.
Yes, but they run on the Akua record, and they run on Akua's personal record.
So now they're going to run on their own record.
Now they're running on their own record, and Mahama is running on his own record.
So we'll
so then they should focus. For me, if I'm these are the people that I target more, because for my strongholds, my grassroots, my members, they will vote for me. So for me, I think that the strategy should be focused on those middle-minded people.
Thank you very much. Elvis Darko is the editor of The Finder, and of course, Kwame Jantua is a lawyer and a former vice chair of PIAC, and it's always an honor to have both of you here with us every Monday. Don't go anywhere. State-registered nutritionist Akosia Konedu Yadom will be talking to us right after these messages.
2 weeks ago, I had nowhere to turn to. I needed funds urgently. That's when I ran into Wafakofi. It's you, Wafakofi.
Hello.
It's good I saw you here.
Really?
You know, with businesses restarting after the lockdown, getting funds has been really difficult to pay for some of the goods in high demand, and my supply is no longer selling on credit.
Sister Ma, my financial partner is Advanced Savings and Loans. Advanced stayed by my side all through the COVID crisis. They offered me grace period. They also gave me advice on how to manage my business, and now they are here to help me clear my containers by offering me a loan.
Are you sure they are giving out loans even during the COVID pandemic?
Yes, Advanced Ghana has you covered.
So that's how I got a loan to stock up my shop.
Call us on 0800 355 355 or visit our nearest branch for our various loan and deposit products. Advance, your preferred financial partner.
Since 2017, a new dawn is breaking in Ghana. The NPP is building the foundations for growth and transformation. We are curbing unemployment with new and decent jobs.
Thanks to Nana, I've got a new job through NAPCO. That is why I'm voting for him as the MPP.
The promise of free SHS is now a reality.
Through education, I have a brighter future. That's why I'm voting for Nana and the MPP.
The future of our country is in the hands of a competent leader, a man you can trust.
I trust Nana.
This December, let's protect our progress. Let's give Nana 4 more to do more for you.
2020, 2024 more for Nana. 2020, 2020, yes, for Nana.
Are you diabetic or hypertensive? Do not just have an eye test. Visit Dashin Opticians for a comprehensive eye examination. Let us conduct an OCT and visual field tests. Early detection prevents vision loss.
That's kind of cynical. I mean, because I'm not sure that all that we have done have necessarily been to the benefit of middle class or wealthy people. So we will get to that.
Tune in to The Point of View this and every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. as I, Bernard Avle, get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you.
When MBB came, because they were not putting money in the sinking fund.
They were not putting money in the sinking fund?
Yes.
That's why this curve is going up?
The money was going to the sinking fund, but it was not being applied to debt.
I think that there's a lot of apocryphal conspiracy theories around. And it's not different from 5G causes coronavirus, COVID-19 and things like that. So there's been this long-term held belief that somehow there are some people that have planned that they will bust hundreds of thousands of people to come and change Ghanaian electoral outcome. There is no evidence for it. There is absolutely no evidence for it.
I am saying that we have very professional herbalists in this country whose capacity I know because I've tried it. But also there are quack ones within them. And the earlier we weed them out, the better for them.
Remember, The Point of View is live every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on Citi TV.
The Point of View is powered by Airtel Tigo. Have you heard that Airtel Tigo calls from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and Airtel Tigo money transfers are now free on new SIMs? Now you know. Airtel Tigo. Life is simple.
Make a bad guy roll for the body. Or him and you be bad for the body. One time for the body. Oh yeah. Girl, I'm down for your body. Anyhow you give me, I go take a more. You know say beg I no get choice, oh yeah. Anyhow you give me, I go chop up. I go clean mouth. Nobody has to know. Send me the handle this your body, oh. Fine, fine ladies with African no. Make I be your one and only, oh. Nobody has to know. Send me the handle this your body, oh. Fine, fine ladies with African no. Make I be your one and only, oh. Girl, you got me singing like Make a bad guy roll for the body. On him or you be bad for the body. One time for the body. Oh yeah, run for the body. Hey, make a bad guy roll for the body. Hey, on him or you be bad for the body. Hey, one time for the body. Hey, on him or you be bad for the body. Hey, sweetie, sweetie, Fanta be yellow. Hey, charming on in my face. A jack and man, baby. Oh, sweetie, sweetie, Fanta be yellow. Hey, charming on in my face. A jack and man, baby. Wicked girl, bubble up, girl, cock it up. You make a real man cock it up. Turn around, bust a wine, show me what you got. Very good, Abiba. And girl, girl, you got me singing like my baby. Make a bad guy roll for the body. Or him or you be bad for the body. One time for the body. Or him or you be bad for the body. I no go kiss and tell. I no go kiss and tell. Make me keep 'em low, 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 low. Nobody has to know. Nobody has to know. Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Girl, girl, you got me singing like Puna chico coco, and you more don't so. Yambo whiskey soko soko, soko soko. Hey, Mijina Puna chico coco, and you more don't so. Yambo whiskey soko soko, soko soko. Yanya no boko boko baby, Yanya no boko boko honey, honey. Yenya no boko boko baby, yenya no boko boko baby, yenya no boko boko honey, honey. Hey, bijina puna chico coco, and you more don't so. Yamba whiskey soko soko, soko soko.
All right, so that is Ryzen. Okay, so now we're going to be having a very interesting conversation, very important conversation here on the nutrition segment of Breakfast Daily. And just to remind you that this segment is sponsored by The Farmers Market. The Farmers Market, 100% hygienic and farm fresh. All right, so Akua Kunedu Yadom has joined us, and she's a state registered nutritionist. She's going to help us to get into the topic of how to check your own vitals at home. Very important. Don't miss it. Akua, how are you?
I'm awesome. Yourself?
I'm very good, thank you. So let's get right into it. Why is it even important to be able to check these details?
So vitals, they help you to know how you truly are, because you can just look at me and assume that everything is working perfectly. I can just look at you and assume that you're looking too dapper, and so everything should be dapper inside also. Vitals will help us to know if you truly look dapper inside as you look on the outside. So it has your BP in there, and we've measured BP on the set, I think 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago. And so your BP will also help us to know if you are at risk of hypertension or high blood pressure. And then it has temperature in there, and in this corona times, temperature is something that we've really paid attention to. So is your temperature spiking? Are you beyond a certain limit or the normal range? Are you above 36? Do we have reasons to be concerned? Then it means that there's something going on. We have your pulse, we have your heart rate. They will all help us to know if you are doing well. And in nutrition, for the purpose of this conversation, we do with your height, your weight, because we need to calculate your BMI. That is your body mass index, to know if you are underweight, if you are normal, if you are overweight, if you are obese. Where do you fall if you are obese? Because we have grade 1, we have grade 2, we have grade 3, and then we have morbid or morbidly obese. That is about 40. So that is it. And then we do your FBS. For instance, if I am taking care of you, I would want to make sure that every check is done as far as your BP, your FBS, as your fasting blood sugar or your random blood sugar. And then we do lipid profiling. That is if I realize that there is a need to do that because you are probably talking to me and presenting signs of something that has to do with cholesterol. Definitely, I would want to know your HDL, your LDL, and then I would want to know your triglycerides level to know how susceptible you are to heart conditions or cardiovascular diseases, cardiovascular diseases. So it is all supposed to help. And then we have the waist to hip ratio, we have the waist to height ratio, we have the body composition. That is, we use this gadget for it. So we pull, this is for the skin fold method, where we hold your skin with it. So there is a way to go about it, and then we pinch to know, because there are components of body composition. There are people who are becoming big or obese because of a lot of protein. There are people, so there are 4 components. It's protein, it is minerals, so that is where overnutrition sets in. We are here preaching against undernutrition or deficiency in some nutrients, but there are people who are kind of abusing it. So too much of everything is bad come to play. And then we have body water. And because some people are also putting on weight because of high water intake, and then the most common one, which is fat. So those are the 4 components of the body composition. So it will help us know the fat in there, so total fat or the percentage of fat, and it's supposed to be within a certain range for men and women. So depending on where you go to, you should choose a good place to go, because most of our facilities, unfortunately, including the private facilities, don't even have body composition machines. So you should know where to go to. So I know that as we progress,
So if we're going to be doing this at home, what are the key things that we should be mindful of? Because of course you can't do everything at home. So what are the key things we should be mindful of?
So for the body composition, is very technical. So I will kind of allow you to go to any good pharmacy or a good private government facility to do it. But you obviously will need a scale. If you want to check your BMI, you will need a scale in the house. Then you need a stadiometer. But I always say that stadiometer makes it very technical for us as professionals. You can just get a tape measure like this one, where you can just have it on the wall. So you measure or you pin it to the wall, to the bottom. So you can lean, or you can stand just by the wall with your heels touching the back, your heels touching the wall. And then with a pen, pencil or whatever, you just mark wherever your head ends, the tip of your head. And then you measure from there. That should give you your height. You don't need a stadiometer. So just a tape measure can help you do that if you don't have it. So this can also help you to check your waist circumference. So there is a way to measure your waist, there is a way to measure your height.
We'll take a look at that. But the stadiometer, that's the machine that you stand on. And it checks your
you
can
height.
Use the level to go up and down to check.
Those are found in facilities, but we want to check in the house.
Of course.
So you can just lean by the wall, make sure your heels are touching.
Can you actually make a measurement on the wall with it? So you create your own.
I don't know if I can just.
You create your own stadiometer on the wall.
Yes.
Right?
So you can just make the measurement like this.
So
this
you can see what
an example. So you can use your tape measure to do what is on the screen. By the wall, you just make a long line, and then you measure afterwards. You can let somebody help you do it. You don't have to check your height by yourself.
So somebody can take a look, because of course, if you are trying to measure it,
from you
may go over or below. You know.
And if you have a lot of braids, you should make sure it's touching your scalp, because that is where your head
is
or ends.
Absolutely. Great. So what's next?
So how to calculate your BMI? You need your weight, you need your height, and the formula is your weight in kilogram divided by height in meter square. We've checked your height for you. We've checked your weight for you. This is how to check your weight. So If let's say your weight is 60 kg, we are using kg in Ghana, yes. So if your weight is 60 kg, if it's in pounds, you need to convert into kilograms.
Okay.
So let's say your weight is 60 kg and your height is 160. So now the height is where the problem is. You need to convert the height in centimeters to meters and you square it. So in this case, the 160 centimeters will be 1.60 times 1.60 because it's height in centimeters to meters squared. So let's say your height was 160 centimeters. You need to make sure it is converted into meters and squared. So 160 centimeters will give you 1.60 times 1.60. And if you get that, that is what is supposed to be at the bottom. So let's say that I had, let's say 2.5 or 3.6. It's supposed to be 60 divided by the 3.6.
So your weight divided by your height squared.
In meters squared. Your height from centimeters to meters squared. So this is it.
Calculation
so I said that the weight was, let's say 60, and then the height was 160.
So let's use my weight.
Okay,
so
give me your weight.
My weight is 80.
Okay.
And then,
height?
My height is 1.78.
1.78.
Yeah.
So your Kwaku's height 1.78 by 1.78. We are getting 3.16. Keep that for me. And your weight is
80.
80. So 80 divided by
3.16.
3.16.
Yeah.
You are 25.3. 25.31.
That's like borderline.
You are borderline for overweight. Citi, reduce the salary. So you are at borderline. That is your BMI 25. The underweight is anything below 18.5. So if you do this calculation and you have below 18.5, you need to seek medical attention immediately because you are undernourished. You are underweight and undernutrition has set in. So it can lead to a lot of complications. If you are within 18.5 to 24.9 or spot on like yours, it means that you are normal. So if you are falling between 18 to 25, anything between 18 to 25, you are okay. You have a very healthy BMI. If you are equal
by
to...
the way, I've come down because I was above that. So
okay, glory be to God.
Just to let you know.
Okay, so next week, next month, shock me next month. So if you are anything above 25 to 29.9, it means you are overweight. And then if you are equal to or greater than 30, it means you are obese, and that is diagnosed clinically as a condition. So we have grade 1, that is also between the 31 to 33. We have grade 2 up to 36, and then to 40 or 39.9 is grade 3. If you are equal to or above 40, you are morbid or morbidly obese, and it comes with serious health complications. So if you are not in the normal category, you need to chase a nutritionist or a dietitian. And so that is for the BMI. And then we go to the waist to hip ratio. The waist to hip ratio, you measure your hip and then you measure your waist. The waist is an inch above your navel. So that is where your waist is. Your waist is not where we put our belts, or like where we keep our belts here. This is how a lady's waist, like where my belt is.
Where your navel is, an inch above it.
An inch above it.
That's your waist.
That is your waist.
Okay.
That is your waist. So we have it on the screen here. So that is the measurement for the waist for a woman. We can see a woman, and that is that for a man. And those down are the hips. So use yourself. Let's use you. Let's say your waist. Today you're on a spotlight. You measure your waist and then divide it by your hip. So waist circumference by your hip circumference will give us your waist to hip ratio.
It should be a fraction less than 1.
Thank you so much.
So from what we're seeing there, if you have anything above 1,
women are different from men. So for a woman, if it is above 0.9, it means there is an issue.
A problem.
You are highly susceptible to cardiovascular diseases, heart attacks, and whatever is going on. So this is like the breakdown for whatever we had here.
Tell us what we're looking at on the screen.
Excellent. That is the green part. If you fall below or on the spot, 0.75, you are doing great.
Okay.
0.8, it's good. 0.85 average, so you are climbing. 0.9, it means that it is red. Red is an indication for danger. So if you are a woman and you have 0.9, it means there is trouble. If you are a man and you have 1.0, it means that there is a need for us to be worried. And with this, if you realize that the shape of your body is even changing, it should be something to give you a clue that there is something going on wrong, because all of a sudden your belly is all over the place. We can't even tell your waist from your hip. If you are like that, and it's not greatly due to genetics, because naturally maybe the family you're coming from, that is how things are. If this wasn't who you look like, you need to be concerned. And then the third one is the waist to height. And we spoke about this somewhere in February and January, that if we measure twice your waist, it should kind of match with your height. But obviously, looking at me and my waist, I am way below. And for that too, if you are above 1 for a man, we've showed you where the hip is, where the waist is. So your waist divided by your height. If it's also 1 for a man and 0.9 for a woman, there is a need for you to also be concerned. So we've spoken about BMI, waist to hip, waist to height, and then we've spoken about body composition. For the BP check, we've spoken at length about it. We've done it. And
so
for
that one, we just have to buy the machine, right, and keep it at home.
For everything we've explained, you can do it in the house. But for the body composition, it's kind of a bit technical. So you need to consult a professional to be guided on what to do. But a key thing is that stick to a healthy plan, and if your BMI is bad, your waist to hip is bad, your waist to height is bad, and you've even checked your body composition and it's bad, your blood sugar is bad, your cholesterol or your lipid profile is revealing something bad, you need to seek help. You need to consult a nutritionist, or else you will put yourself at risk for non-communicable diseases and death.
Okay, so now when I'm looking at this, I'm getting the impression that a lot of the problems health-wise that happen to us are centered in the belly region.
Yes, that's where we call the midsection. So most of the people putting on weight, what we call pot belly or sikafru, I wonder if there's money in there. It's as a result of the accumulation of fat at that area. And I told you the body's composition is categorized into 4 components. So yours is fat, protein, a lot of minerals in your body, or water in your body. So these are, you need to know that, okay, this is what is making me put on weight. We need to know as individuals what exactly is accounting for the weight we are gaining, because if you know where the problem is coming from, then you don't hit the gym and go and do workout sessions that Kweku is doing or Akosia is doing, because mine may be water, yours may be fat. So it means that we are different as far as what we want to achieve at the end of the day is concerned.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for that. So people watching want to reach out to you. How do they get to you?
Okay, so you can WhatsApp me or call me on 0243 350206, 0243 350206, on Instagram at The Nutritionist Akosia, at The Nutritionist Akosia, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Nutritionist Akosia. But I would say that make sure you are sticking to a healthy diet. If you are eating healthy, if you are consulting and treating, now we are not in an era where you don't seek help. You need to see everybody needs a nutritionist.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Akosia Kunedi Adam.
Thanks for having me.
She's a state-registered nutritionist, and she's been helping us to understand how to check our vitals at home by ourselves. Now, we're going to come back. The cooking segment is going to come up soon, but before that, let's take a look at our entertainment highlights.
Welcome to Entertainment Highlights on Breakfast Daily. My name is Akua. Award-winning dancehall musician Stonebwoy says he will humbly accept the call from the people of Ashama to become Member of Parliament in the constituency. Stonebwoy, who has lived all his life in Ashama, told Joy FM that he championed a number of activities in his community which puts him in a position of becoming a politician. The BET Award winner is confident that his popularity as a musician is capable of propelling him to becoming a politician in the future. The whole issue about Stonebwoy's ambition of becoming a politician surfaced when the Beam Nation president was asked if he would welcome an offer from his fans to become a member of parliament for the Ashaman constituency. Now, if they want the road to be done, we who have the influence have the mouth to speak to that effect. The position we play is bigger than a political side, he said. Stonebwoy emphasized that he would only reveal his political affiliation when he deems it fit to pursue his political ambition. In the meantime, he said he would not openly throw his support behind any political party like Samini has done for the New Patriotic Party. Giza, the manager of Ghanaian rapper Eno Baroni, has said that his artist almost gave up on her music career when she realized it was taking time to hit the limelight. Giza noted that it is not surprising that Eno Baroni felt that way at a point in time because he has also observed that the media gives more attention to male artists than female artists. Speaking to Dr. Khan on Happy FM, he said the media easily forgets the woman, noting that even after having done a lot of work this year, he hardly hear people mention Eno's name when it comes to the Artist of the Year. Eno Baroni recently won the Best Female Rap Act at the African Music Magazine Awards. Nigerian artist Davido says DMW signee Mayokan is bigger than Wizkid and Burna Boy. During a recent interview with the Shade Room, he declared that Mayokan is the biggest music star in the world. Davido believes his signee is bigger than him and all other top artists. The interviewer was quite shocked by Davido's response to her question. Davido even went ahead to spell Mayokan's name for the interviewer. And that is all for Entertainment Highlights on Breakfast Daily. Have a good morning.
In Ghana, the law enjoins all drivers and passengers in a moving vehicle to wear a seatbelt. No excuse is good enough for not wearing a seatbelt. Seatbelts that are fitted in vehicles are adjustable, so please adjust it to suit you. Let it rest as close as possible to the body. As a driver, before you drive off, ensure everyone else, especially children in the vehicle, have fastened their seatbelts. The airbag is not an alternative to a seatbelt because in the event of a crash, only the fastened seatbelt will stop a passenger from being thrown far forward. So buckle up. Stop road crashes now. Stay alive.
This road safety education is brought to you by the National Road Safety Authority.
Nyai kwaje Georgina Sabani, meto pando fesi, kakeme le sovie le galito. Eyi dolele evade, coronavirus dolele evade. Ena mi afo do me kale eji yo, do la me liyo, nou ple la chome ton kale vava. Kakeme sebe gome de, ne ya pere miya un, ne do na ni kaiji. Taje me ngula inko, maudi tonye va, ta me yo tome vade, no mo kwa mi sa mi to ava.
Through the Campus Initiative, we have dispersed funds to beneficiaries across the nation. Several local businesses have seen the impact of our work, and we will continue to give more of them hope amidst this global pandemic era that has negatively impacted all of us.
NBSSI, a new era for MSMEs.
welcome back. It's still Breakfast Daily on Citi TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, for cooking segment today, we're going to be making chicken glazed chop salad, and we have our favorite chef Ruby, here with us. Good morning, Chef Ruby.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am very well, very well.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Huh?
Can you walk us through what we're looking at here?
I think the salad we're going to make today, the secret is in the name,
Okay.
chop. And in a sense, what I brought is literally any vegetable can do this type of salad. That's what I like about it.
Okay.
It's chop. You just keep chopping. And what I always like is texture. The only thing with salad is if they have crunch and soft in it, it's really good. So I brought in some spring onions.
Okay.
I put my stuff in zip bags because I think this is a really good way to store things like this when you're in a hurry.
Yeah.
But please don't store hot things in plastic.
Okay.
It doesn't go well with chemicals and things. I've done two types of cabbage, is white and red, green beans, we got some coriander, and then parsley, chopped parsley. Cucumber. The cucumbers, what I find is actually the baby cucumbers, the tiny ones, they tend to be more juicier and tastier.
Oh, than the big ones.
The big ones are like really over sort of grown, and you find that some of the cucumbers, what they call cucumbers, actually marrow. It's not cucumber.
Okay.
So I like it. And this small one, thankfully to our wonderful Ghana farmers, we now get them quite reasonable.
The prices are
really
good.
I think our farmers, we've got to give our hands to them. They're doing amazing with the vegetables at the moment. So we've got more cabbage. Red peppers, fantastic vitamin C. Plenty of this you need. You got some green peppers. Then we got this glazed chicken, which is protein. So this particular salad can also be done with like prawns or other things.
How did you cook
So with this, I have some soy sauce.
Okay.
I added a little bit of brown sugar, ginger and garlic, and Thai fish sauce. And I seasoned the chicken in it overnight.
Okay.
And then this morning, I just pan fried it and chopped it.
Wow.
So that's quite a good one. We have red onions.
Okay.
I think onions, we are very much into
red
onions. Some cherry tomatoes, which is also becoming quite reasonably priced.
Yeah, and you've chopped that up as well.
I've cut that into two.
Okay.
You can literally put cherry tomatoes in salads whole if they're small enough. We've got some yellow peppers as well.
Okay.
For color. And then I made some dressing.
What's in the dressing?
This dressing, what I like about it is literally the stuff that I season my meat with. So I had soy sauce, brown sugar, I had ginger, garlic. Now what I've added to this is a little bit of vinegar, mustard, and then I also added some olive oil.
Wow.
And all I've done is, and I always like a little bit of heat in my sort of salad, so I put in some bird eye chili. The bird eye is one size, the peppers are a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Then all I've done is I put all this together in a blender.
Okay.
It's like 10 seconds later, I cheated and I got a very smooth salad.
Wow.
Then I chopped in there some of my coriander, and then I'm gone. Then I strained it and I've got it. And the good thing with this is you just do it like this, you put it in your fridge, in the bottle, and it's much fresher, and you know what is gone into it.
Yeah.
Instead of the ones that's been done for how many years and it's sitting on the shop shelf. I mean, we honestly need to just learn quicker ways to do things and not be lazy about it, and so that we know what we are eating.
And we have all these goodies at our disposal.
Exactly. And then we got our avo.
Star of the morning.
Avos are not in season so much, so they're quite difficult to get. But like I said with this salad, you don't necessarily have to have everything. So if you have even watermelon, it can go into it.
Make it work.
If you have some lettuce, you can. So I'm going to start off with one of this cabbage.
Okay.
And this is what it looked like in my bowl. I'm going to add to it some...
The green pepper, or, oh no, that's the spring, no, that's the beans, green beans.
I'm going to add some cucumber.
Okay. And how important is it to have variety when we're at home, you know? And for the people who don't know how to do this, how will Chef Ruby's food people help us get to this level?
So I think what it is the good thing about this type of salad is you don't have to be necessarily perfect at chopping. So you can have them in cube, you can have them in slices. The most important thing is, like with the peppers, make sure you take the seeds out. The onions, you might want them a bit more rounder. You might want them a bit more diced, and then it goes in it. So you pretty much are putting in the stuff that it will make enough portions for you. Okay. So if you're doing it at home, you might just get a bowl ready and then you chop, you put a little bit. So if you are particular with a certain type of maybe vegetable that you like more, that will go into it more. Yeah. But be careful of things like avocado because they're actually quite fatty. They're good fats. I'm not saying they're not, but if you're doing this thing and it's, this will be very low calorie, and you think, oh, you know, I'm getting that, and then because you also got a dressing in there, then all of a sudden you have a lot of avocado, so it can add to the calorie content.
So people who are new to salads, would you recommend maybe on a weekend, do all this already, put it in your fridge, so as you go on Monday, Tuesday, you get what you need, put the rest, instead of doing them all at once and then it gets salty.
The idea is like, if I have peppers, and for me, myself, and it's red pepper, I might need half a pepper. Yeah. So there's no point chopping everything and putting it in the fridge, because what it will do is it will wilt. And then you know you touch the thing, it feels like slimy and things. So I think chopping something the day before, okay,
it's good, but don't do it.
Don't do all of it. This thing is literally, I mean, we're talking about 5-10 minutes chopping. Yeah. So it also adds to the experience of being able to smell the product and seeing the freshness of it and all that. Cucumber, for example, you chop it the next day, the thing is coming out slimy and all that. The chicken you can season, and you can even portion them and then cook them and put them in the freezer, so it's very easy to bring out and do it. But the idea is that if I have to eat this every day in a week, you kind of get a bit fed up and stuff. So you might do a little bit. The vegetables, you can alternate them and put different things with it. So you do your chicken bit, you can have some with tuna, you can have some with prawns, you can have some even with pork belly if it's trimmed well. So the vegetables there, I think it's one of those things that you have to have in the fridge, which is very important.
So now we're going to add our protein.
Yeah, our protein is going on there, and we're adding a little bit now because we're going to leave some for the top of the salad and stuff. And then we're going to add some herbs. I like herbs because I think that is quite flavorful.
How important are herbs? Because I don't think we use them enough, especially in our salads locally.
But the thing is, they are the type of leaves that really we should use more. It has a really good flavor. I mean, the other day I went to the shop and they had this mint, and it's called ginger mint. So it's a mint that has that sort of texture of ginger as well. Wow. You know? So I think when you want to eat well, it's good to experiment a little bit. You know what I mean? You see something and you're like, oh, you know, what does that look like? What does that taste like? What does that smell like? Because, you know, we eat with all our senses. The smell alone can wheel us in and things. So we got some dressing here.
Okay, gonna pour some of that in.
Smell that.
Ooh.
And we're going to put some of the dressing in there to dress this up. The good thing with these zip bags is because they are like something you can seal them. So this is what I like about them.
It's okay.
If you seal them well, it's very good.
Yeah, so then you can...
And then you can definitely reuse them all the time. Yeah. So look, all these colors that we have put into this salad, this is what we're ending up getting.
Wow.
I've seen people do this type of salad with even some sausage.
Oh.
I would say don't.
Why?
Because the thing with sausage is quite processed, especially when it's not a high-end sausage.
Okay.
So you do this good salad that we are looking at, then you end up spoiling with some sausage. Literally.
So you would recommend like maybe tuna, prawns?
Yes, tuna.
What about beef?
Beef, you can do that. Beef goes well. This also happens to be one of those salads that, to be perfectly honest, it even acts as like a stir fry. So you really do well with it. I've done one where I've also added things like noodles. Just cook some noodles.
So people who are addicted to noodles can have an alternative now.
Indomie world, you don't have to have Indomie. You can just buy normal noodles, and then definitely you then have a moment, do something like this, and it can be eaten cold. It's not like all noodles have to be so
yeah.
hot.
And I kid you not, you've made salad eating so easy for even our floor manager Ahen. He now eats salad and he's full, because we always think of salad as a side dish and not necessarily a main dish. So you've converted all of us into salad eaters. But walk us through the ingredients again, in case someone is just joining us and would like to make this beautiful salad at home.
Okay, so what we've done is like we said, the name is in, the clue is in the name for this chop salad. We've got some cabbage, and there is white and red cabbage, spring onions, some parsley and coriander, cucumber, green beans, red peppers, green peppers, glazed chicken breast, and I purposely use chicken breast because it's less fatty and stuff.
So
then
you don't want to go to the
red onions. I've got cherry tomatoes as well, red yellow peppers, cabbage again, cucumber, and then of course we have our dressing. And our dressing, we did our dressing with olive oil, soya sauce, brown sugar. So we had some mustard in there, we had some chili, we had some Thai fish sauce as well, coriander, garlic and ginger, and then blended it and then drained it. And the blending is the way that you want to go with it, because what happens is, with salads, if you kind of stir it up, it can separate. With the oil, what you're doing is you're modifying it, like blending it in, so that it becomes like a thick consistency that goes into it. So we added that into it. And then today we're struggling with the avocado because
it's not in season.
So this one that we got is slightly a little bit harder, but it's not too crazy hard. And then you have something like this.
Voila.
Voila, voila.
So you guys can appreciate Chef Ruby's handiwork there. You have your protein in there, you have your veggies, you have your dressing, which are all natural. You got your greens in there, everything you need. So if you're finding it difficult staying full while staying away from carbs, this is a great transition for you. But Chef, what do you guys have for Chef Ruby's people's food?
Oh, currently at the moment we are fully booked for Christmas.
Wow.
Which is exciting. We are doing, a lot of people want to take a break, and we are just helping them with the season. So we still have some spaces left on Boxing Day and 26 and 27.
Nice.
A lot of our clients are getting a lot of salads. They're getting the roast, they're getting the barbecue, they're getting the soup. This year, I think the soup on the menu list, we have chicken rere.
Wow.
We had goat light soup. We had some green soup as well. So when we do Christmas, the food people, we go all out. We want to eat all our favorite things Ghanaian. We want to add some international bits into it. But you can follow us on Chef Ruby's Food People on Instagram. You can also catch us on Facebook. We also are on, we tweet all the time.
You're very active on social media.
And so if you want to know more, and we will be putting this recipe out for that. And during the Christmas season as well, we also have a product which is like Christmas cake list.
Nice.
We have over 20 of them. So make sure that you follow us or inbox us to get the list, and then you'll be able to order what you need to order from. But we'll also be putting some chocolate cake recipes, so you can also try that yourself and stuff. And hopefully in the new year, when you join me in a class, when I can actually teach you this one-on-one, then you too will become this really home goddess cooking person, because cooking is that simple and it is healthy and it bonds us together. It is so emotional all the time when we meet together to eat. Every decision that is good is made around the table, and normally food or drink is involved. So we just want to make sure that we're part of that and to help you to get there. And as always, if you have any questions about how to get this done, the recipe, or just general chit chat about food, you call the food people on 020-639-2311.
Say the number again.
020-639-2311.
Thank you so much, Chef Ruby, for being with us. And I want our viewers to appreciate this glazed chicken chop salad one last time, so we can just put the camera on the salad so that we can see what we have here. You have your onions, you have your peppers, you have your cabbage, you have everything in there, and it's good for you. You don't have to compromise on taste when you're eating healthy. We're now gonna take a look at Ryzen's new single and then have a conversation with him. It's called Nobody Has to Know.
Roll for the body. On him, you be bad for the body. One time for the body. Oh yeah.
Girl, I'm down for your party. Anyhow you give me, I go take a move. You know, say beg, I no get choice, oh yeah. Anyhow you give me, I go chop on. I go clean my. Nobody has to know. Send me the handle, the shop body up. Fine ladies with African no. Make her be your one and only, oh. Nobody has to know. Send me the handle, the shop body up. Fine ladies with African no. Make her be your one and only, oh. Sweetie Fanta Bielo, show me no in my face. A jacket man a penny. Sweetie Fanta Bielo, show me no in my face. A jacket man a penny. We get girl Babylon, girl cock it up. You make a real man cock it up. Then around bust a wine, show me what you got. Very good at people.
All right. When you're having fun,
yeah,
comes to an end real quickly. Yeah, that's nice. Some nice food, right?
It is.
Yeah. All right. So Ryzen joined us right at the beginning of the show, and he's been throughout the show with us, and he's here. We're gonna have a conversation with him. All right, Ryzen.
Hello.
How you doing?
Thank you, yourself.
I'm very well, thank you. So tell us, what was the inspiration behind this new song?
Well, it was just about people usually being vocal about relationships. You know, it's basically having a conversation with your significant other and telling her, you know, let's keep it on the low. Nobody has to know about us. You know, let's keep it quiet.
But why would you want to keep it quiet?
Well, when people are involved, they start saying things, and when they start saying things, it gets messy, and then, you know, especially with the social media, oh my goodness.
But what if what they're saying is true?
Well, it's not your problem.
Okay, so what about those who feel that, listen, why are you hiding us? Why are you keeping us out of that?
Well, we can keep it private.
Yeah.
Private is not secrecy.
Okay.
You know, we can keep it. Let's be quiet.
So discreet, but not necessarily,
you know,
hidden
yeah,
from.
and that's what it's about.
But tell us about your experience in the musical space. How's the journey been like?
The journey, basically I've started the mile, so it's okay. It's not easy,
yeah.
You know, but I have a team, friends that I can trust. So I'm building it day by day, step by step. When we make mistake, we come back, we fix it, and we keep going.
Nice.
And we tunnel it out. So, tunnel vision.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Where do we get your single? Where do we follow you?
It's on iTunes, YouTube, iTunes, everywhere.
Okay.
On my Instagram, it's Ryzen Anthony.
Okay.
RISONANTHONY.
Okay. And your YouTube, because we want to subscribe.
Ryzen, official Ryzen.
Okay.
Same thing everywhere.
Do you have any projects coming up for the Christmas season?
Yes, I have. Well, the single's out, but I'm
congratulations on that.
I appreciate that. The single is coming out. I mean, the next single is probably coming out in January, along with the EP called I Rise.
Okay. I Rise.
Yes.
What inspired that name?
Well, that Rise on the EP is basically about women.
Okay.
Women empowerment.
Are you always about women?
Well,
women
my mother's a
empowerment, of
woman. My
course.
mother's a woman, so that helps.
Okay.
It makes
What
it
about
easy.
your dad?
My dad is not a woman.
So no male empowerment. Let's forget of the men.
You know, we need to pay more attention to the women.
Why?
Because I feel like women are usually left behind.
You think so?
I feel so.
I'm right in front of you.
I think you're right. I agree with you.
Yeah. Really?
They've had a
Yeah.
raw deal. You know,
Okay.
and
So is it women in a relationship?
So how many women are here right now?
Should we count?
Let's be. If we have
The
to
people downstairs,
In
the
the
people
room?
running the show are actually
There's only
women.
3 of you in the room.
The producers are women, the directors are
right
women.
now- I
agree,
They are
right?
running.
Right
they are
now-
running it.
right now, how many women are
You
here?
haven't seen them, but they're running it.
We don't
Our
see,
directors
that's
are
the
women.
problem. They're always behind.
Directing isn't necessarily behind. You make it happen.
But
You're the
you're
enabler.
directing it from. You can't direct in front.
Okay, but I'm the host. I'm in front of you right now.
It's majority.
Okay, it's fine. I'm looking forward to your EP.
Okay, so I have a
I made you lose your
listening.
Okay.
Live session.
Nice.
December 4th.
Okay.
Once again, I'm inviting all the women. and the men, but the women, to come just listen to good music, listen to the EP.
When is it happening? December 4th is less than 2 weeks. So
Yes.
where do we get all the information?
It's on my Instagram.
Okay.
Rising Anthony.
Okay.
It's going to be beautiful.
Okay,
Wow.
Rising Anthony, thank
Yeah.
you for being with us.
I appreciate you for having me.
Okay, so you'll take us out in just a little bit, right? Thank you. Yes, so thank you very much for watching this today's edition of Breakfast Daily. It's been truly insightful. Learned a lot of different things along the way.
Yeah.
I know that you probably also learned a lot of things too. And if you're just joining us, remember that we have a YouTube page, YouTube channel. It's a CityTube. That's the way to go to get all the different segments of the show nicely spliced up for you. Subscribe, click on the notification button, then you'll get all the notifications of every video that we drop right there. Like, comment, and then also share with your friends.
Definitely. And we have a lot of birthday shout outs to do. Belated happy birthday to Nicholas, one of our cameramen. He's super, super talented. He celebrated his big day on Friday, and we're so thankful to have him on the team. Nathan Wow celebrated his birthday yesterday along with Ima. I'm blanking out on all the birthdays we've had. Victoria. We're always blanking out, but we love you guys. We appreciate you. We love everything you've done to contribute to the success of this team. And we're going to leave you so that you enjoy Rising and his women.
I love the women. Make a bad girl rule for the body. On him, you be bad for the body. One time for the body. Oh yeah, run for the body. Girl, I'm down for your body. Any you give me, I go take a more. You know, say beg, I no get chance, so yeah. Any you give me, I go chop out. I go clean mouth. Nobody has to know. Say me they handle this your body, oh. Fine, fine ladies with African, no. Make up be your one and only, oh. Nobody has to know. Say me they handle this your body, oh. Fine, fine ladies with African, oh. Make up be your one and girl, you got me singing like my faith. Make a bad guy rule for the body. On him, you be bad for the body. One time for the body. Oh yeah, run for the body. Sweetie, sweetie, Fanta be yellow. Charming on in my face. A jacket man a bomb. Sweetie, sweetie, Fanta be yellow. Charming on in my face. A jacket man a bomb. Wicked, Girl, bubble up, girl, cock it up. You make a real man cock it up. Turn around, boss a wine, show me what you got. Very good, Habib. And girl, girl, you got me singing like my baby. Make a bad girl roll for the body. On him and you be bad for the body. One time for the body. Oh yeah, run for the body. I no go kiss and tell. I no go kiss and tell. Make we keep them low, 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 low. Nobody has to know. Nobody has to know. Me pebo Sarah, oh my baby girl, I wanna be with you, with you, with you, with you, with you, with you, my girl. I wanna dance with you, my baby. Ooh, girl, you got me singing like Thank you.
COVID-19 is hitting the travel and tourism industry very hard. Before the pandemic, just outside of Washington, D.C., here in Virginia, at Dallas Airport, traffic looked like this. Now it looks like this. A similar situation is happening across Africa in many parts, as international and local travel has been at a standstill for months now. People in the diaspora needing to travel straight or through other continents, Ethiopian Airlines, Africa's prominent air carrier, is likely your best bet. Hello, I am Orion Itangishaka, and you are watching Our Voices. This week, we are looking at the transportation industry on the continent during this pandemic. We'll also look at the effect of travel restrictions on the tourism industry. I'll be discussing more about this while I'm in my home. Welcome. From Dallas Airport, I'm in the studio back in my home to further discuss the effect of COVID-19 on the transportation and tourism industries on the continent. Alexandre de Juniac, CEO of the International Air Transportation Association, says, "Stay strong, we will get through this crisis and keep the world connected." Though his organization says that Africa's network of airlines could take up to 3 years to rebound from the devastating impact of COVID-19 related travel restrictions, this global crisis has also allowed the battered industry to rethink and plan for new and different ways of doing things. VOA's Anita Powell reports from Johannesburg, South Africa.
Africa's airlines have been grounded for months as nations have shut their borders to try to stop the spread of coronavirus. Now, as countries prepare to reopen their skies, the airlines cannot simply pick up where they left off, industry experts say. Since March, the livelihoods of some 3.3 million people, not just pilots but engineers, mechanics, and support staff, have hung in the balance as air carriers saw their income shrivel and their future grow increasingly uncertain. It is, says the head of one of Africa's largest airline associations, a grim picture.
By the middle of April, you had scheduled air traffic down at 95% below what was the February 2020 levels. So the airlines had to go into a cash preservation system where they had to obviously conserve cash and look at ways of reducing costs. And one of the major areas where they obviously looked at reducing costs was in the area of, unfortunately, their employees.
Pilot Carl Bolweg knows that firsthand. Right before South Africa announced its national lockdown, the veteran pilot flew his last flight for South African Airways domestic service. At 58, he says he's made peace with the fact that his long career ended that day with a whimper.
It was on the 15th of March. Yeah, so, yeah, actually I didn't know that it would have been my last flight.
And where did you go?
Oh, I can't remember now. I was hoping you wouldn't ask that question. I think it was... I'll have to check in my logbook.
But Ziegenthal says this could be a chance for the industry to make beneficial changes. Some airlines, he says, like continental leader Ethiopian Airlines, have converted passenger planes into cargo aircraft to meet the continent's continuing demand for goods because of a lack of transport infrastructure on the ground. Across the industry, he says, airlines are looking at how to build a diverse workforce. And he says in coming months, passengers should expect to be courted by airlines as they try to win them back.
There's got to be a lot of marketing and convincing of the passengers that it is safe to fly and healthy to fly. And obviously, from that perspective, you will see initially quite a lot of low fares in the market.
He predicts that in South Africa, domestic travel will rebound by mid-2021. International travel will take longer, until 2023 or even 2024. But waiting in the wings are a new, hopeful group of staff, like 28-year-old flight instructor Kelly Slingers.
I think we're a very adaptable industry. If you look at 9/11, I think there's a lot of undecidedness right now. People are scared. But in the wake of 9/11, the industry came back. It took a couple of years for it to recover. And I think that's exactly what will happen to the aviation industry. We will recover.
And when it does, she says, the sky is the limit. Anita Powell, VOA News, Johannesburg.
Now, while at Dallas Airport, I was able to speak to Nugusu Worku, the Ethiopian Airlines U.S. Director of Operation, and began by asking him how Ethiopian Airlines has been able to stay afloat, even operating a daily departure from the Washington, D.C. region during these tough economic times when many of the competitors are laying off thousands of their employees.
One is the business model itself. We have diversified aviation business model, which is Ethiopian has now 7 strategic business units. Like one is international passenger business, domestic business, cargo, MRO, ground handling. These are, in their own merit, strategic business units. And of course, we have Aviation Academy also. So when the passenger business was affected due to COVID, we started focusing on cargo. So that's one of the reasons we survived the challenge. But the second reason is agile leadership. Our leadership so agile that they took right steps at the right time. So we, instead of panic mode, and we decided to convert our passenger fleet into cargo. The profit margin of airlines in good times is 4%. Yeah, to put it in context, IT industry, technology, gets a profit margin up to 40%. So the only way to survive in the industry is you have to manage cost. And you have to also, of course, enhance revenue streams. But we have a cost leadership strategy in which we manage our unit cost. And that's also one of the success factors of Ethiopian Airlines. Initially, when the situation happened in March, April, May, there was panic by many passengers. So our operation, passenger operation, came down to 10%. And then in those times, we had lots of cargo, PPE, So we helped the situation with lots of revenue from cargo. But of late, we are witnessing a recovery in our passenger business. So we are actually seeing more passengers. So we are actually coming to a new normal. The third reason, a strong, dedicated, and committed workforce. I would say these are the reasons for the success of Ethiopian Airlines in this challenging time.
As you've said, they've changed your fleets from passenger to cargo, and you flew to about 80 countries, even at the beginning of COVID. Is that strategy still in place right now?
Yes, of course. We believe people are now learning how to live with COVID. It's not like the situation in March where there was lots of panic, but now people are taking cautions and learning. So we see people traveling. For example, today we have around 220 passengers going to Africa, so which is a very good load factor for such flights. In fact, and now focusing on the passenger business also, because there is a strong recovery. People are now traveling in large numbers. So yeah, still we are working on our strategies.
And a few weeks ago, you completed your expansion at Addis Ababa International Airport.
Exactly.
With all that expansion and still wanting to stay profitable and a prominent airline on the continent.
Yeah.
Have you been spending more resources perhaps to convince people that it is still safe to continue to travel?
We have a 15 years long plan. So that's one of the reasons we had expansion project at this Bole airport. And in terms of safety, in this COVID time, air travel, I tell you, is still the safest means of travel. And in fact, according to a recent Harvard study, air travel is safer than having a meal at a restaurant or buying grocery items. So regarding the measures we are taking at our hub at this or at all points of Ethiopian Airlines, we require employees and passengers to wear masks always, at all times. We avail sanitizers. We deep clean our aircraft. We sanitize. We disinfect. So all these measures are really assuring safety of our flights, both during the flight and in our hub at this our Bole airport.
For those who are traveling from here, the U.S., what is the first thing they should know before even booking a flight to the continent? Or what is the first thing they should do before booking a flight during this pandemic?
I would say they should check their destination's country's policy. For example, Ethiopia requires any passenger to produce a COVID negative certificate. So, for example, it's not for transit passengers. For anybody traveling into, for example, Ethiopia, should have a PCR, a COVID negative certificate. We require that. Likewise, rest of African countries or other countries have their own policies. And of course, they should avail their PPEs, like masks, sanitizers, and things like that. But we also avail, during the flight, sanitizers to our passengers.
Mr. Workhoop, from what other cities are the diaspora able to travel from the U.S. straight to the continent at the moment in this pandemic with AT?
Now we are currently flying from Washington, Dallas, this airport, daily. And we also fly from New York. We also fly from Chicago. So we are transporting passengers without any disruption, connecting people to Africa and the rest of the world.
Now, on October 21st, the International Air Transportation Association announced that 4 other African airlines had ceased operation: Rwanda, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and Burkina Faso, who have pledged a total of $311 million in direct financial support to air transportation. It's time to take a short break. Be sure to join us on our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our handle is @VOA Our Voices. You can also reach us on WhatsApp. Our number is right there on your screen. After After the break, we'll take a look at efforts to curb COVID-19 through the ground transportation like matatus and boda bodas. We'll be right back.
Being part of Our Voices is about more than just sitting here and talking about women's issues. It's about listening to them
and bringing their opinions to the table and making sure their voices are heard.
Because our lived experiences, our stories, and our voices will help shape the next generation.
Welcome back. You're watching Our Voices. This week, we are looking in depth at the state of the transportation and tourism industry and the measures being taken to keep people safe from coronavirus on their travel journeys. In many parts of the world, the fastest way to get around town for city dwellers is on a motorcycle. And that's the way it is in Africa. I used this mode of transportation in different cities on the continent. However, with this kind of transportation, social distancing is just impossible. In fact, you're encouraged to hang on tight to a person as much as you can. Yes, I'm talking about a boda boda, as it is called in Uganda. An innovator there has come up with a plastic shield to protect both the driver and the passenger. Hilma Athumiani tells us more from Uganda.
Uganda has hundreds of thousands of motorcycles on its roads, and the majority of them work as taxis, known as boda bodas. But with the COVID-19 pandemic, since April, the government has banned motorcycle taxis because of the close proximity between the driver and passenger. To solve that problem, Dixon Journey created a plastic shield to mount between them.
We believe the shield is entirely going to protect the passenger from getting contaminations on the road in the process of moving. Number two, he will not get direct contact with the rider.
4 months into Uganda's lockdown, boda boda drivers allowed only to deliver goods are struggling to make a living. Drivers are urging authorities to let them take passengers if they use the shield.
This shield, we all as boda boda riders should use it because I see there's a distance. If I'm seated here and the passenger is at the back, I don't see how we're going to get infected by COVID-19.
Uganda's Ministry of Works and Transport says they are investigating the effectiveness of the shield. Chief Engineer Tony Kavuma says one concern is that passengers will wrongly believe the shield is all they need for protection.
That is the use of the masks and the helmet, a fully covered helmet. Because that one, it shields the rider. If in case he or she is infected, they'll be able to contain the droplets. That's number one. Two, it will, in case of a fall, it will also protect the head.
It is not clear when Ugandan authorities will allow passengers back onto border borders. Meanwhile, Njirani says they are manufacturing more shields in anticipation of high demand. Halima Athmani for VOA News, Kampala.
Now, as South Africa continues to ease the coronavirus restrictions, technical experts and public health experts are working on plans to protect the health of 14 million South Africans who rely on a complex network of regular minibus taxis to get to work, school, and more. VOA's Anita Pau reports from Johannesburg, South Africa.
The humble minibus taxi is a lifeline for more than 70% of South Africa's workforce. But health experts worry this system is a breeding ground for coronavirus because of riders' close quarters and the high volume of passengers. A new South African nonprofit initiative, led by a businessman who is also the eldest son of President Cyril Ramaphosa, is trying to address this gap.
When we insisted as business and as South Africans, let's open this economy, by not dealing with the commute, we basically undid what was happening with lockdown. So if you deal with the transport sector, because COVID is a virus that moves through the transport sector, if you deal with that effectively, you could actually put in an artificial lockdown.
HIV researcher Dr. Jenny Pfeiffer-Kutsia, founder and director of the African Potential Foundation, says her team has come up with several solutions, ranging from simple to complex.
What we're looking at is a system very similar to what's being used in ambulances, and that is to adapt a UVC air filter that allows the airflow to be encouraged within the taxi using various fans within the filter, and air passes through the filter where it's then irradiated within a matter of seconds and is then transferred back out into the taxi to be circulated out within the taxi.
Her team is also considering an alarm system that alerts passengers to open the windows to allow fresh air to circulate, at sanitizing stations that passengers can use to clean their hands before boarding, and at a divider between the driver and passenger. That last intervention, says Ramaphosa's business partner Brad Fisher, is especially crucial. He says the government's efforts at sanitizing taxis only work up to a point.
But you can spray this rank to death. Unless you get into the taxi, where there's a closed environment, it's a capsule with whatever it is, whether there's 3 or 10 people's academic, that driver gets sick, and statistically, the driver's seeing 2,000 people a month, he's going to get sick.
One of the things that Ramaphosa's team could decrease the risk of infection by up to 80%. So far, STI has fitted out 5,000 school transport taxis and 1,000 commuter taxis at an estimated cost of about $340,000, which works out to about $60 per vehicle, much of it provided by donors.
It's been quite a journey of discovery for us non-scientists to bring all these people together with one thing in mind. We need our people to get to work safely, and we need to save lives.
Pfeiffer Kutsia says the team is also looking at how to scale the model to fit other African countries, which use similar transport systems to move millions of people each day. Anita Powell, VOA News, Johannesburg.
Now it's time for another quick break. When we return, we'll look at tourism and how it is being affected and how both the industry and people who depend on it are coping economically. We'll also look at how people who are satisfying the need to travel in the safest way they can during this pandemic. We even have a story about people traveling to nowhere. You don't want to miss this. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Our Voices, the tourism industry and how it is being affected, and how both the industry and people who depend on it are coping economically. Now, an African Union study reveals that the COVID-19 pandemic could cost Africa $500 billion of damage to the tourism and aviation sector. For example, an annual great migration of wildlife across Tanzania and Kenya usually attracts thousands of tourists on safaris, bringing income to traders that depend on them, such as souvenir makers. Lenny Ravaga reports.
Kenya's Masai Mara National Reserve normally has almost as many tourists as wildebeests for the annual Great Migration of wildlife from Tanzania. But tourism is struggling to recover after authorities lifted March COVID-19 local travel restrictions in July and international ones just this month.
In the last 6 months, we have lost almost $800 million in terms of revenue for the government. Definitely, we were expecting to have $2 billion revenue for the government from tourism, but because of the pandemic, that's a big loss.
But with just a trickle of tourists, many of Kenya's souvenir sellers remain closed, and the craftsmen and women are struggling to make a living. Nolta Parry Kisemei heads a group of 3,000 beadwork artists, all of them women. They've seen their incomes drop to a fraction of the $100 per month average they and their families depend on.
As a leader of the women in this area, most, if not all, have been expecting answers from me on how to survive the pandemic. I am totally disoriented and helpless on what to tell them and how to weather this storm.
To help the craftswomen to get by, local aid groups have been donating food.
When they are also not skilled, to have alternatives in life. You know, people who have not gone to school, they are very much limited. So if one door is closed, then they have no other way to pursue other opportunities.
Narok authorities say they are also providing food to around 800 families in the area.
We had even to go and feed those communities which are living around the game reserve because they are heavily affected by the loss of business in this game reserve.
Kenya's safari tourism is slowly recovering. Meanwhile, locals are holding on, hoping one day soon the herds of tourists will again rival the wildlife. Lenny Ruvaga for VOA News, Narok, Kenya.
Now, across the globe, international travel is almost non-existent as many people try to avoid being infected by COVID-19. The hassle of airport check-in delays is also not welcoming to many travelers. The global tourism industry is left to find new streams of revenues. In Asia, companies are trying to stay profitable through so-called flights to nowhere. VOA's Bill Gallo explained from South Korea.
Like most of the world's airports, South Korea's normally packed Incheon Airport has sat mostly empty for months. But some airlines in Asia are trying to change that by offering flights that end up right where they began. It's the flight to nowhere. While it may sound like a gimmick, customers are actually buying tickets. This Taiwanese airline took passengers to South Korea's Jeju Island, circled a few times, and flew right back to Taiwan. In the air, passengers had a Korean language and culture lesson.
Because I couldn't go abroad, my friend recommended this event. I found it on the internet. I felt it was very unique. I wanted to experience a flight to nowhere.
The flights aren't cheap. Australia's Qantas airline charged almost $800 for an economy seat on a flight that offered views of attractions such as the Great Barrier Reef. The flight sold out in 10 minutes. In Japan, the flights don't even leave the ground. This entertainment company offers flights in a fake airport cabin. Passengers get meals and tour famous sites through virtual reality headsets.
We've been changing and trying to improve every day, so I hope it will last for a long time in the long run.
The trend is a sign people are eager to be done with quarantine and other restrictions.
But the problem is, if you want to travel to other countries, you have to go through all the safety procedures. You have to have your COVID-19 tested, and you need to go through quarantines. And it's really not convenient for a lot of people just for traveling for now.
But while the flights to nowhere may provide a boost for travel companies, they don't help the broader tourist industry. Here in Seoul, many shopping districts that rely on foreigners are mostly empty, waiting for the flood of tourist dollars that may not come anytime soon. Bill Gallo, VOA News, Seoul.
It's time to wrap up our show, but first, let's go back to the continent where it's not all doom and gloom for some women venturing into the transportation industry. Ghana's women-only trucking company, Lady Bird Logistics, has watched its fleet of trucks quadruple just in 2 years as the number of its drivers triple despite the current pandemic. Stacey Knock reports from Ghana.
Iram Sador is proud to be one of the first women to join Ladybird Logistics, a trucking firm in Ghana that claims to be the world's first to hire only female drivers. She also loves seeing newly recruited ladies get behind the wheel.
The company is developing, because we start with 11 drivers. We are the first batch, and now everything is improving well, more drivers are coming, more cars are coming.
Since starting in 2017, the company has grown from 5 trucks in 2018 to 20 trucks today, with 35 women drivers and 14 more in training. While some of Ghana's male truckers encourage them, the company says others don't want to see women in the profession.
The guys thought this wouldn't be possible. And they were thinking maybe the trucks, the women will be smashing the trucks here and there. But 3 years down the line, we are still going and we are growing.
Ladybird drivers say the work is empowering and shows the importance of giving women equal opportunities.
You can't recruit only men. We've got families to feed. And what if my husband is the only person who brings income and then he's sick? So
I bring income, he also brings income. It helps the society, it helps the country. Women take care. When you educate a woman, you know you educate a country.
S&M Nyaido has been pushing Ghana's women to get into commercial driving. She started out in Accra as a taxi driver, also a job dominated by men. Now she trains women to drive trucks and buses and has seen increasing support from Ghanaian men.
When you have fathers, brothers, uncles talking to you and asking how they could get their nieces, their daughters and their grandchildren into the profession, it tells you society has been listening.
Nyaido and Ladybird Logistics say they will continue steering more women into the profession. Stacey Knott for VOA News, Takoradi, Ghana.
What a beautiful story. And that's all for us this week. And thank you for watching. On behalf of my co-host Haiti Adams Fitzpatrick and Ian Bior, I am Oriani Tangishaka. Thank you for watching. Good day.
On the 7th of December, you will be going to the polls to elect a member of parliament. How well do you know your constituency?
We take a visit to the Awutu Senya East constituency of the Central region. We are coming to you from the Inspirational constituency in the Ashanti region. I'm still in the Aswanse constituency.
Political parties will be campaigning for your vote.
We have done almost about 80 to 90 different projects across the constituency.
There is no single school under any electoral area that has not seen the development of Honorable Muntaka.
But as a constituent, what will inform your choice of a candidate to represent you in Parliament?
My party is my community. What program are you bringing in to solve the problem of my community?
Be involved in what concerns you. My name is Fremedu Nyame. Join me on the constituency for all you need to know concerning your socio-economic development. The constituency airs on Citi TV Mondays to Thursdays.
Hello and welcome to 2020 News on Citi TV. My name is Apna Nyame. Coming up, 14 days to the December polls, President Akua urges supporters of the NPP to turn out massively to ensure victory for the party. And flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Mahama, accuses President Akua of legitimizing corruption. Let's get into the details of the stories now. President Akua has called on all supporters of the New Patriotic Party who registered to vote in the December polls to come out in their numbers and vote. According to him, the party stands a better chance of winning the 2020 election if supporters vote massively. President Akua was speaking at a rally in the Akua North constituency as part of his Eastern Region tour.
Motoa mami boom 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 wana motoa makwesi amu akwata e boom 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 na okwaso mra no beka me ho yetumi nya omani ye Onyankopon hira mo nyira na woche mienu pepepe obia watso ni din awo okrata no. So, Brana Betuabano and Kafie Bobia and Kafie Nae Baba Tuabano Breo Ewagana Ha
The flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, says President Akua is wading in corruption. According to him, the president has failed to act on findings that implicate government officials he describes as his family members. Speaking at the Deborah of Chiefs and People of Gambigo in the Upper East region, the leader of the NDC, John Mahama, said President Akua has been defeated by corruption.
At the time we were in office, they tarred us with the brush of corruption. And they made so much noise about it. Today, the president is bathing in corruption. And I say that because the allegations of corruption are of people close to him. And that's why I say he's bathing in it. You can be president, there might be a CEO or something who does something, you probably are not aware, but when you become aware, you must take action against it. But when you take cases like PDS, and you hear his own brother and his cousin and others discussing how to distribute shares of PDS, then the president is bathing in corruption. We have their voices on tape discussing how somebody should reduce his share so that they'll see how to share the thing. And the guy said, I won't reduce it. I won't go below 40%. We all heard that on the tape. As if that was not enough, then you have Agyapa. And everybody associated with Agyapa is close to the president or his senior associates. And the Office of the Special Prosecutor has released a damning report on Agyapa. And so when we say the president is bathing in corruption, we literally mean he's bathing in corruption.
Now, some NDC supporters have been injured in the Ilembele in the western region while they were on a campaign walk after a commercial vehicle ran over them on Sunday evening at Azulino, a community located between Enyinase and Isiama. Confirming the accident to Citi News, Member of Parliament and NDC parliamentary candidate for Ilembele, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, said the incident happened a little before 7 p.m. when hundreds of supporters embarked on the campaign walk, but they were run over by a passing vehicle. The MP, who expressed regret for the loss of lives, said several of the injured have been taken to the Akua Catholic Hospital, and one person, we understand, is feared dead. As the country gears up towards the 2020 general elections, various communities have adopted strategies to use their votes as baits for development projects ahead of the December polls. One such community is Nyentie in the Sisala West district of the Upper West region, where some residents say they will only take part in the December polls if roads in the area are fixed. There is more in this report by Citi News' Upper West regional correspondent Latif Mahama.
The Nyentie community is along the Wahang-Zini-Golu road. This road links 18 communities to the Sisala West district, Golu, which happens to be the hometown of former President Dr. Hilel Man. In spite of its significance to the socio-economic development of the district, the road is in a deplorable state, making it extremely difficult for commuters and farmers in particular to cart their farm produce to market centers. Pregnant women in the area have to risk traveling on this bumpy road to nearby health facilities for antenatal care. 32-year-old Fatau Hadomie, who is about 8 months pregnant, is one of them trekking to a health facility at Zini. She tells Citi News she was compelled to embark on the 18-kilometer journey from Nyentie with her mother-in-law because she feared losing her pregnancy on a motorbike after waiting for more than 8 hours without a car.
The
assemblyman for the Zini electoral area said series of life-threatening accidents have occurred on the road due to the breakage of a major road culvert on the stretch.
Any stranger who want to use this road will not have it easy, in that you wouldn't know what is happening here. And by mistake, if you don't see this sign and then you overspeed and you enter here, maybe, who knows? Only God, you may just end up losing your life.
Some commuters who spoke to Citi News say the road has been used by successive governments to secure votes, but left unattended to. They are appealing for urgent action on the road before the December polls.
Adzini market atenga amomo Burkina Faso ara business momo doni kwema yure wo pasa amu other village nanongo so kawal ma ruzena do pa
yala mangaya sor ngaya tidra wahala yang to wala di wono pon bagali yang charam ma yala ta politicians kun won cause ban an yuso lobera berana bomo cheme ko bon be lanfia chatna bo ma bon bilini.
The Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has begun a three-pronged approach to end the menace of witchcraft accusations in the country. At an event to cut sod for the construction of a borehole during her second visit to the Gambaga camp, Sector Minister Cynthia Morrison indicated upon several appeals from inmates, government had outlined a new strategy to deal with the phenomenon, which will not involve immediate closure of the camps.
Basically address the phenomenon of witchcraft accusations, violence against alleged witches, wizards, and the continuous existence of camps. We plan to adopt a three-pronged approach: short-term, medium-term, and long-term. In the short term, we will attend to the basic needs of the residents and the poor state of camps, cash transfer, valid national health insurance cards, and assorted items.
You are still watching 2020 News on Citi TV. This is the Election Bureau. Still ahead, Chamber of Independent Power Producers refused accusations by governments that it created unnecessary tension over threats to cut power supply due to indebtedness. We have more. Don't go away.
Telling Ghana's business stories. Citi TV brings you a dedicated business news bulletin that showcases the business temperature of the country in one go. The business dashboard, the markets, industry, and policies that affect the way we do business. All covered in one bulletin. The business dashboard, 7 p.m. every weeknight on Citi TV. Ghana goes to the polls on December 7th, and Citi TV gets to work. From 6 a.m. on December 7th, bringing you all the action and reports, with our correspondents covering all 275 constituencies. Be assured of exhaustive and definitive coverage of Ghana's 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections. Our team of seasoned journalists will dissect the issues and give minute-by-minute account of the election. Bernard Avler, Vivian Kai Loko, Kojo Akoto Boateng, Nathan Kwao, Frema Edunyame, Abena Nyameche Ampedu, Salam Adonu, Umaru Sanda Amadou, Zoe Abu Beju, Duke Mensa Opoku, Nana Tufo. The Election Bureau, Ghana's election covered. Coverage starts at 6 a.m. on December 7th on Citi TV and 97.3 Citi FM.
You're welcome back. This is 2020 News on Citi TV. We now bring you the business segment.
You're welcome to the business segment on 2020 News. My name is Mina W.
In the news, the Chamber of Independent Power Producers, Distributors and Bulk Consumers has refuted accusations by government that the chamber is creating unnecessary tension by threatening to cut power supply should government fail to settle the over $1 billion debt owed its members. Elikplim Kwabla Afetobo explained that the energy sector is on a life support and the growing debt is crippling the Ghanaian sector.
It is important for us to make this public that the electricity sector debt or the energy sector debt should be a serious concern to any investor because it is crippling our operations. And when we make demand, you bear with me that we started making demand for urgent attention to this situation last year. It should not be, it is wrong, it would be very wrong for anyone to see this as a political action, maybe to discredit government. If from the time that we are making this call, we receive attention, I don't think we'll get to this level. And our action is not something to sabotage government, it's purely the reality on the ground. How do we sustain our operations? Those piecemeal payments that it's making are seriously not anything that can sustain our operations. We are just doing sacrifice and we have gone beyond the limits that we could go. You can't call this unnecessary tension unless you don't understand what a power business or a power generation business.
Now, the movie industry in Ghana is still at a standstill after several months of closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Since March, movie theater lovers have been left with no option than to watch movies in the confines of their home. The following report looks at people's reactions towards the closure of movie theaters and the emergence of drive-in cinemas as a new trend.
The COVID-19 pandemic has distracted the global film industry, halting film productions and closing cinemas. President Akua in March this year banned all public gatherings, including movie cinemas, as part of measures to stop the spread of the coronavirus in the country. Although the president has lifted majority of the restrictions, the cinemas, just like the nightclubs, still remain closed. Those who patronize these movie centers are certainly concerned. Looking at how the pandemic has shaped people's minds in avoiding crowded places, Citi Business News sought to find out whether they would patronize cinemas when the pandemic is over.
So if COVID is over, or whether it's over or not, and they open the cinema, so I'll go.
I won't wait. If the protocols are to be released, I will go in no time.
I would, especially I haven't been to Silver Bay Cinema, but if they open and I have an invite, of course I should go.
So on the flip side, there are other people who are bringing up innovative ways in order to stay in business in relation to movie theaters. So how did this whole thing come about?
We actually started last year in December, but what gave us the idea, we are a creative agency, so we are always looking for innovative ways to, to bring new ideas in town. And we just thought, well, it's not happening here. Even though during that time COVID wasn't there, it's made it even more relevant now. But it was just giving a whole new experience to Ghanaians.
Abamanu is asking for support from stakeholders in the industry and the government to push the business.
We have done extremely well on our own, but like everything else, you can't do it on your own. So I think if the government would come on board, it would even be a great,
Well, that's it for Business on 2020 News. My name is Mina W. Next to Sports.
It's time for Sports on 2020 News. My name is Daniel Cranton, and World Football Governing Body FIFA has banned CAF President Ahmad for 5 years for financial misconduct. According to the FIFA statement, the Malagasy, who had been under investigation, has been charged for breaching 4 acts of the FIFA Code of Conduct. Ahmad had been under investigation by the FIFA Ethics Committee between 2017 and 2019 into irregularities concerning CAF-related governance issues. Ahmad has been charged for, among many other government's issues, using CAF money to finance an Umrah pilgrimage to Mecca for 15 African FA presidents. Now, the FIFA adjudicatory chamber, after extensive hearing, ruled that the CAF president had breached his duty of loyalty, offered gifts and other benefits, mismanaged funds, and abused his position as CAF president pursuant to the FIFA Code of Ethics. Now, Emmanuel Clottey scored a last-minute free kick to handbrake Chelsea, a 1-1 draw with Ashanti Kotoko in the Ghana Premier League. Now, Kotoko took the lead in the 25th minute through Kwame Opoku, and the visitors for most parts of the match looked like they were going to run away with all 3 points, but it was not to be as Clottey came off the bench to rescue a draw for his side.
Edward Podo, cleared out by Adom Frimpong. And now the run is on for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Emmanuel JP. This is an opportunity for Kotoko. This should be goal number 1, and it is. It is. Referee has accepted. The ball did indeed pass the goal line. And Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Emmanuel Kayeke.
Yes. In the final 2 minutes of the game. Good gather there with a quick ball into the feet of Stephen Amakuna, looking for the free kick, and perfectly he's been called right on the edge of the penalty area. Who is going to effect this? Amakuna has always been justified when taking these set pieces. Is he going to effect it? Stephen Amakuna behind the ball, and that's a drive, and that's equalizer.
Kotoko head coach is Maxwell Kunedu. He says his side played a good game despite the draw.
It's a good match. It was a very good and tough match. I said we came to win, and that is what we wanted to do exactly. And had it not been because of it's a referee I respect so much, and I have a lot of respect for the referee. But then last minute I don't know what came over him. But that is football. We accept it in good faith and move.
Now, Liverpool moved level on points with Premier League leaders Tottenham Hotspur and thwarted Leicester City's hopes of going top with an outstanding 3-0 victory at Anfield. And that's all for sports. My name is Daniel Cranting.
That's it for 2020 News on Citi TV. All the news in 20 minutes. Our website, citynewsroom.com, has more information on our top stories and more. Subscribe to CitiTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from Citi TV. Download the Citi Newsroom app on the Google Play Store or the App Store and keep updated on the go. You can also watch Citi TV on DSTV channel 363 and GoTV channel 182. My name is Abna Nyameshampedu. Thank you for your time.
The Teiman South constituency is one of the most densely populated constituencies in the Bono East region. Teiman, capital of the Teiman municipality, was made the regional capital in 2019 after the Bono East region was carved out of the then Brongahafo region. According to the 2010 population and housing census, its total population is 147,788. Almost half of the households in the municipality are engaged in agriculture, with others focusing on trade and craftsmanship. The Teiman South constituency shares common boundaries with the Teiman North, Wenchi, and Nkranza North and South constituencies in the Bono East region, and Offensive North constituency in the Ashanti region. The constituency is one of the few swing constituencies in the region and is very competitive politically. The NDC held on to the parliamentary seats in 1992 and 1996. Prince Oduro won the seats for the first time for the NPP with a 1% lead. The parliamentary seats went back to the NDC in 2004 and 2008, with Adai Simmons as parliamentary candidate. In 2012, NDC's Ajay Mensah won with a 10% difference, but lost to NPP's Henry Yeboah Boache in 2016. Both NDC and NPP have introduced new faces for the parliamentary seats for the upcoming election. NDC's Bejura Christopher is running against the Deputy Minister for Regional Reorganization and Development, Martin Ajay Mensah Kosa. Residents say they will look at their living conditions, roads, and availability of jobs when voting.
Papa, by me a taxi driver. Na ye taxi driver na ban wine station ye kakura na ta ye na tua tax kese. And so abandoning him stations you kra station one ye especially time station one elori jema to kintampo nso to kra ntuma wuro ti sa abandoning to me ye ho ye ma ye beto ama me mom the mini party but me talk about mini party. Okay, and is there any other stress you have about? Oh, me share the obi and more eso ani na me to ama Martin Ajay Mensah Kosa woni ona se etoma no so ate ase eno me say niema won ma ban mu kra niema wo ye no mputu a wo ye no menya NDC fo bebiri akase ono de o mbeto amante be skirt and blouse youth no ya hu said ye ebinom ebo youth no enne kra yen to abanu enko ya hu said ebinom ye den ebo youth no na ebinom so ahyebo so ate ase nti yin na de beba bia no yanze bere beto abano e de amani pano em se nipa no de nye de no obeka no na e so ye de ato de wo feel no na bebere hwe de e de to omaba.
The NDC believes they will reclaim the seats from the NPP with a vote margin of more than 10,000. According to them, the NPP won in 2016 mostly based on lies they spread in relation to the DKM scandal.
Majority of them is based on the lies that was told to the ears of people. For instance, DKM, it was thought that it was John Dramani Mahama who established DKM, which is entirely false. Even the name, the abbreviation DKM, some were trumpeting it that the D stand for Dramani, the K stand for, I think, Kojo also, and then the M stand for Mahama. They were attributing everything, and they were promising that when they are voted into power, they will make sure that everybody's penny will be paid. What do we say? It is not that they want to do one or two things. Master, we are far above that.
NDC parliamentary candidate Christopher Bejura says they have corrected their mistakes and will take back the seat.
The Teiman South seat has always been the seat for NDC, most often. Usually when there are problems within the ranks and file of the party, that is when the MPP get opportunity to take the seats. That is one. And two, usually when there's a mass change, like a mass change for the presidency, when Akua took over, usually in such situations, they take over the seats, and that has been, I think, twice or so. For now, why I have 100% confidence that we're going to win back the seats is the fact that, one, in terms of the ranks and file of the constituency, we have a very united front. We have so much unity, so much teamwork, and we've all vowed to work hard to take back our seats. We have corrected our mistakes, we've learned from the past, and from what is happening on the ground, we are 100% confident that we will take back our seat. As for the election, I have consistently said, and mark it on the wall, that we are going to beat the MPP in the general election by not less than 2 million votes. In my constituency, we've set a target. With the MPP, both presidential and parliamentary, the minimum, we are going to beat them is 10,000 votes. It is a target we've set for ourselves. We're going to work very hard, and I believe that by God's grace and with prayers and hard work, we shall overcome.
Speaking with Citi News, Martin A.J. Mensah-Kosa stated that he is putting in place measures to improve the living conditions of the constituents.
I believe that if the people push me to get up there, then we can double ourselves in pushing the process of development and transformation of Teiman. Well, we are new. Both of us are new. But I believe that I'm riding on my track record of delivery, of performance. I can say, with all humility, to my credit, that I have, by the grace of God, accomplished a lot for Teiman, and that is my trump card. That is what I'm riding on to victory. It surpasses a lot. If you look on my lap here, I hold in my hand here, achievement and development of my Teiman South. So all around it, from education to healthcare to jobs to social support and so on, it's been massive, massive. There'll be incidents where I go to rent an equipment to come and clear drains for flooding in some areas to be avoided or prevented. The next morning somebody goes to pour water in the fuel tank of the equipment. They went to fix it, removed it. When it was fixed and they were about to get it running, the following day, again, there had been drums of water poured in there, and this time around, the glasses of the equipment all damaged at no provocation. No provocation. Billboards have been damaged, so many things. I continue to repaste posters every now and then in this constituency for no just cause. I mean, I'm campaigning, and if you think that you are winning, why do you go defacing my posters? So there's been a lot of provocation. I remain very peaceful, and I want my supporters to be peaceful. We have a big day ahead of us, and we'll use the time to prove a point.
From the Teiman South Constituency, I am Michael Chachua Holly.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a news search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. Citi TV, it's your world.
It's Monday, it's Monday, it's Monday. That only means one thing: the tracker is back on your screens on Citi TV. It's a lot to talk about, but like I said last weekend, the Black Stars were in action, 2 legs against Sudan, so we need to do a recap of some sorts. We'll be talking about exactly how Ghana managed to lose to Sudan by 1-0. It was an away game. The Black Stars of Ghana didn't put up the best of performances, eventually ran out losers of that particular game. 93rd minute, that's when the Black Stars lost that game. We'll be talking about some notable absentees from CK Akono's first batch of competitive matches. We'll be recapping the game itself to see where things went wrong for the Black Stars of Ghana. And then, of course, there's some updates on Mohamed Kudus. Remember that Mohamed Kudus injured his meniscus in his Champions League debut against Liverpool. Well, Ajax Football Club really giving Mohamed Kudus the star treatment, visiting him with a basket of fruits and all, ensuring that their star is well kept and is under the watchful eye of the club, even as he recuperates from his meniscus injury. Then we'll talk about some Donkomi as well that's been happening. Winfo Kobina. Interesting stuff on Winfo Kobina. Just about a few weeks ago, the reports were that he had been involved in some